All right, there we go. Countdown till Discord takes a shit, but
Oh yeah,
I've reinstalled and prioritized everything with it to the best of my ability. So we shall see.
we'll see.
Hello. What is up, y'all?
Sorry, I'm just taking care of some minor scheduling details. Pat, suck off those ghosts faster. No, I don't want to.
Ghost sucking.
Yeah, when I play fighting games, I got the ghost sticks in my mouth.
Oh, I mean,
I'm kind of shocked that you had never pointed it out like 10 years ago. But I guess you were focused on the game.
ghost dicks. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like I'm sucking dicks that aren't there.
Oh, your habits. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. There's a lot of that. So that was just not surprising to me. I know exactly what you're talking about because I have a cousin who was like that, and like it wasn't just games; it was any activity. Whenever he's playing basketball, whenever he's playing games, whenever he's doing anything that requires focus or concentration, his like
just goes.
his eyes go dead, his mouth hangs open, and his tongue hangs out of his mouth a little bit. You know, a bit of almost like that Jordan kind of mouth, like like he's like and like oh.
I'm focusing, man. I'm trying to do brain stuff.
Focus is required to keep the mouth closed and the drool inside. Yeah. And focus is also and focus is also required to not tap your nose. You know, like some kind of fucking
that's
whatever that is.
I don't know how to. I can't stop it.
I mean, I think greater than any actual victory is the mid-match don't tap your nose as your hand is up like the call out. It's straight up a Joseph and next you're gonna tap your fucking nose. What? No, but oh my god, I'm tapping it. Yeah.
Oh, there was a bomb on my hand.
Yeah. Okay, so a lot going on this week over here. Games and stuff and old stuff that I forgot to bring up last time.
Oh god, that's always like, oh, I should have done it last week. It was going to be so relevant, and now it's only slightly less relevant, but I feel stupid.
Yeah. So I mean,
doing that.
Well, it's still relevant, but either way, I'm just like, if you've got a lot and I've got a lot, then we know what we're in for.
I don't think I got a lot. I can't even remember what I did yesterday.
Yeah, but then you're gonna look and you're gonna see it and you're gonna be like, oh, it was a lot. Okay. Okay, hold on.
No, I'm good.
All right. Folks are saying you're quiet. Let me pull you up a little bit just to...
No one's ever accused me of this.
I know, right?
In my life.
Maybe with the Discord reinstallation and shit, the stuff has...
It's possible.
Reset a little bit.
It's conceivable even.
All right, so there you go.
Bro, fucking Nintendo Direct. I had a dentist appointment. And like, I had to reschedule the dentist appointment because I got to do that Nintendo Direct.
Oh my god, you reschedule? That's how... Okay, you don't... You don't just go, all right, that one will have to take a hit. You reschedule the dentist. Damn. All right.
Okay, and like the worst part, like I rescheduled it for like 2 weeks.
My god, priorities are so different. Wow.
It's just a what do you call it?
Cleaning.
Like a checkout.
Yeah.
It's not like whatever. Like it's tomorrow morning, so this isn't 24 hours ahead of time. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm canceling my appointment like with 12 hours to go or something. And she's like the receptionist is like, okay, well,
yeah.
You confirmed earlier in the week. I just want to let you know that usually we don't. I'm like, I know. I'm sorry. But I can't tell them why, because then they'll laugh and be like, you cringe fucking nerd.
I mean, like, I like the idea that you're burning the candle at like every possible end and then the middle of the candle at the same time methods are turning the tide, because the whole like, Wooly, you got to go watch these shows, you got to go catch up on what's going on with these things, is now turning into, for the love of God, Pat, just watch it later. Like,
no,
you don't have to do this.
No,
you know,
I need to be there so that someone can complain that I wasn't excited enough later.
See, I think
Why has he even watched these? He's so jaded. Ugh.
But the problem is when you play your hand and reveal like I can't enjoy anything right now because I'm too excited for Elden Ring and Dawn Trail.
Oh yeah.
That's insane. That's insane, crazy person shit.
Everything that would give me enjoyment other than like hanging out with the dog, the wife, the cat, or the baby, family, right? Everything that I would do to like kill time and be like, I'm enjoying myself, haha, is like annoying, is like irritating.
Oh my God.
Because it's not the things that I actually want to do.
Oh my God. I just like I that feeling of there's always too many things is not going to go away for me anytime soon. Even the things I want the most.
It's so funny because like I'm well aware that I represent like the absolute most extreme level of when is Santa coming? Mm-hmm. I'm not going to eat dinner. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I don't even want dinner.
I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop breathing. I'm going to turn red until Santa gets here.
Right. I'm the farthest over there. Meanwhile, I like remember like the moment that I understood that I don't understand you on a fundamental level. And it was that goddamn Metal Gear Solid 3 limited edition.
Yeah.
Where you wanted the one with the red tin.
I wanted
that had the really nice box.
I wanted the collector edition of that.
Right.
Yeah.
And all of us had just like didn't give a shit about that and had gotten it and were playing it. And you were like, no, but I want my red one. I don't care. It'll be good. It'll be the same one. I'll enjoy it just as much, but I want the red one. And you were like totally happy to wait.
Yeah.
Like it didn't bother you at all.
Yeah. I had ordered.
And I was just sitting there like, how are you not going crazy?
Because
the game's out right now.
Because I had ordered it and I only had the money for one, and I had spent it and I was waiting on its arrival, and I don't have the money to go buy it right now to play it now, so I had to wait. The money was spent and it was in the mail. I just had to sit and wait for it. That was a financial thing.
There was a trick to that, which was I did offer you my copy to play it, and you're like, no, don't worry about it. And you were like nonplussed, like you were calm and chill.
I guess. I mean, I definitely know that like the idea of like there wasn't a time where I could get it digitally first and then like wait for the collector or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, it was in the mail.
My point is that on the one hand, I'm as neurotic as I could be about this. Mm-hmm. And like it feels extra strong to you because you are like the chillest person I've ever known about, well, it's live right now. Well, it's out right now. Don't you want to jump on it right now? And you're like, no, it's fine.
Yeah, it's the thing. Like these activities are they're like, in a lot of cases, it's like the first priority is going to it's going to be my first priority as soon as I enter the time frame in which I'm like time to enjoy things and do these activities. Right. I'm not going to stop or rearrange the activity or the things I'm doing in life necessarily to get them in earlier. I'm going to go like, all right, as of tomorrow, when I do the shit I got to do or whatever else is going on at this point, the first thing I'm going to do is go check out this thing that I want to check out. But it's still over there. It's fine. It's okay. I mean, shit, man, this career has certainly like hyper prioritized everything about this industry in a way that, like, I got to do what I got to do to keep enjoying it. You know what I mean? I can burn out way easier than I think you can when it comes to a lot of this. So
I've got that mental illness and obsession powering me. I hit like points where like Paige can see it before I do. And like, well, I could just stream more. What if I just stream more?
Right.
And then I'm like, I'm a little tired. And Paige is like, if you do not chill the fuck out tomorrow, you're going to pass out. I'm like, no, I'm not.
Yeah. I don't know what things would look like if I were completely unrestricted in the sense that like, when Reggie comes over, there's still a limitation to how much we can sit down and do in a given time frame, as opposed to me just hitting the button all the time. But I have a feeling that even if I were just doing it solo, I would still be like, yeah, probably, like I'd pop up here and there depending on how things are going. but I have a constraint, you know, that is another person.
What if I just, you know, that like work, leisure, sleep?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what if I took that
Took
sleep
that
part
one
out?
and just,
So
yep.
you know what? It's funny because that used to be the solution, right? That when I was a younger person, I was like, yeah, just don't sleep as much. Yeah, what's gonna happen? That's just no longer an option. That sleep part is like locked in and won't move because it's gonna show up no matter what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's getting to be like 9:45 p.m. and I'm like, oh man.
I mean,
Oh.
yeah, no, I'm still not sleeping, but like it's just other shit is crammed into that time, you know. And then yeah, I, the word jork song flew by a moment ago, like for whatever the, and you can piece together like how we get
Well,
there.
there's a lot going on. Paige right now is working on I don't know what to call it, a personal project called the Jork Report,
Okay.
in which she will explain to all of you why the ghoul is hot and how that's super normal and
Okay.
what's going to happen with the ghoul and the ghoul's dick in the second season of Fallout.
Okay.
She is doing like she's like, I thought it was Pepe Sylvia. I
Okay.
thought that was what was happening.
Okay.
And then she's like, no, but look at this though. And she'll bring up like the document she's created. And I'm like, there's a lot in there.
I see.
There's like meat.
Because
She's pulling quotes from like interviews with side actors that I'd never heard of, didn't realize were in the show.
This needs to be, yes, the horny must be justified.
It's
empirically.
I don't think it does. I think it's going to be.
I was just going the other route with that and going like, oh, Silk Song into Hype Song, and people that are hyped for Hype Song are now Jork Song like enthusiasts. I just in my brain,
they're Jork Song enthusiasts.
They're Jork Song. They're all about Jork Song. You know, that's what I assumed was going on. Anyway, yeah, all right. So something I forgot to bring up in last week's fucking stacked cast was Furiosa.
Oh, you saw fucking Furiosa and
yeah,
you didn't mention it? That's
yeah.
crazy.
Because a lot happened and there was a lot to cover and brain fog. Saw Furiosa last week and it was fucking good, man. It's probably not the kind of thing that I think it's out of theaters now, right? And the entire, and like you can't
out of theaters now.
I think that it's had its run, and I think it might be or so. It depends on what cinema, I suppose. But either way, you can't bring up Furiosa without immediately going into the discussion about how theaters are dying and the box office difference between, you know, the biggest hits of like the previous years going into this one. I
think,
you know, Barbenheimer was the last swan song of the cinema. Dune 2 was, you know, was all right, but like Furiosa is like and I think the other one was the Fall Guy, where it's like, here's two movies that were like, you know, acclaimed and getting good reviews and people, you know, word of mouth is spreading, but just folks are pretty comfortable at home. Red Letter Media did a video on it, you know, and folks are just pretty comfortable at home. Like, it's not just about like, okay, COVID got us used to like, or COVID was like, people were saying, I don't want to go to the theaters and risk getting sick. But now you're just like, I'm also comfortable with my TV at home. So if I can wait for something to hit streaming in a short period of time, then why not do that, you know?
So like, it's there's so many complicated things. Cause like I think that well, people got used to watching it at home is like really reductive, but it's more that like, but because there's the second part of that, right? People did get used to watching it at home, right? That watching movies at home, but like during the pandemic, if you realized you wanted to watch movies all the time and you were a movie snob, you probably got like a pretty nice TV during that period to watch your movies at home, which you still have.
Yeah.
But on top of that, pre-pandemic, you were like, you know, I don't know if like $30 is worth it for me and Paige to go see Sonic the Hedgehog, but like yeah, the stuff's popping. Maybe we won't be able to see movies anymore. Yeah, okay, we'll spend $30 to go see Sonic the Hedgehog. Now that we've come out the other side of it, is like, do you want to pay $400 on Cheapy Tuesdays to see a movie that's going to be in theaters for how long is Furiosa there? 6 weeks?
I mean, yeah, the exorbitant pricing combined with it, it's more than just a like, okay, you get your $30 ticket per person, and then you go in, and if you're getting your popcorn or whatever else, you're paying those theater prices are always nuts, and it's just becoming more and more impractical compared to the online or rather at home cost and such. And then in addition to that too, it's like, I think that one of those prices always go up, of course, as a response to business going down, and I imagine, you'll see a lot of smaller theaters close. I imagine you'd see like probably some art house places that would like run old things, like, hey, we're gonna do, like Cinema de Parc, for example, is a place in Montreal that'll do like 2001: A Space Odyssey. Come catch it, if you've never have in a theater, or just play old movies or get old runs of stuff. But like the big mainline ones and such, like, yeah, I think Inside Out 2 came out this weekend, and that seems to be doing well. But there's going to be these tent poles, and those tent poles are going to get fewer and fewer, and you're probably going to see these businesses maybe have to start merging with others and doing other things to stay afloat.
I can only speak for myself on one of these things, but like, me and Paige wanted to go see a movie. Now the movie experience, okay, so the movie cost, what does a ticket cost? Right, I haven't even been. What does a ticket cost at a movie theater?
Give or take, like, if you're
$30.
I mean, over here, if you're going to, depends on which, because you can go to like an IMAX or a not IMAX, and
fuck it, like a regular ass movie,
probably 20. Then if you're going to just the
20.
basic, you're paying 20.
Okay, so that's ridiculous, right?
Yeah,
but okay, let's say 20, let's fuck it, 25, whatever, right? So that's $50 right off the bat, and plus snacks, whatever, blah 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 blah, plus babysitter.
Yep.
We're now talking about like a fucking $120 3-hour excursion.
Yeah, you're in a frame, you're in a window in your life where activities are just costing more because of that extra factor. It's not a permanent situation.
But there's activities that we don't need a babysitter because we just take the baby.
Yes, yeah. That is a temporary situation, but it is still one applies to anyone who is a new parent, has that little modifier as well on the cost of everything.
Well, the other thing is like, Furiosa's out of theaters, and it's like, because it didn't do very well. And I'm like, I remember growing up, and like all the way up until I was almost 30, seeing the shittiest movies ever, living on that fucking board of available films to watch for 6+ months. Just like, we're gonna make the goddamn money back.
Yeah,
we're gonna make it back.
Well, because it was kind of like DVD sales of things, where it's like, yeah, people bored will just walk in and go, what the fuck's playing? I don't know, what is that? Let's go see that. Like a curiosity. And like, hell, I mean, fucking back, you go way back enough before our time, where you're like, we go to the theater because they have air conditioning, right? Was the original appeal of getting in there on a hot day.
Sometimes you still go to the theater because the air conditioning when we were younger, because like the theater has the good air conditioning.
But that's the boomerest fucking reason you can go see a movie, We're so far beyond that now that, like, yeah, there's just, you don't feel like, hey, what are we doing today? I don't know. I got nothing. Let's go see that. You have a million things you can fucking TikTok, watch, stream, etc. Yada, yada. You can watch Lawrence of Arabia on your phone, Yeah, the part of it that is the wildest in some ways for me is that just from the game perspective, arcades died off one by one. They just got shot and killed over here because it's like, you're not allowed to make any new ones because they're undesirable elements in the neighborhood. But the ones that survived were as long as your arcade was inside of a theater, you could do whatever you want. And the theaters were privileged that way. So it became a real sad thing because you're like, oh man, arcade theaters suck because they always have just a bunch of busted machines that are not the games anyone really wants to play or anything. They're just, a handful of random things and then an air hockey table and call it a day. But ooh, they've got the neon lights and shit. If they did get anything like a fighting game or like a rhythm game, that would be the one place you had your option to go. And now the idea that the thing that was the safe business that arcades could like the Noah's Ark
Attached to.
is now fucking sinking, you know? And the business that is the thing that was supposed to be the safe haven itself cannot stay afloat. It's just
There's
wild.
something like this is maybe I'm horribly extrapolating much too far beyond the scope of this conversation, but I feel like part of the issue that theaters are having is the same issue that malls are having, and the same issue many daytime businesses are having, and it's a problem with the kids. So 10 years ago, we all got to enjoy, me and you are millennials, we all got to enjoy every article under the sun blaming us.
Millennials are killing the family style restaurant.
The housing market and fucking
East Side Mario's, TGI Fridays.
The kids won't go to whatever the fuck, and it's like I can't afford it.
With what money?
With what,
idiot?
So when I was a child, right? When I was 10 years old, I could pay $1 to take the bus all the way in town, go fuck around the Angrignon Mall, watch a movie, get some food, and for the 20 that my dad gave me on like a Friday evening to leave on Saturday, to be like, get the fuck out of here, just go do kid shit, I don't care, right? Like, just whatever, right? So I'd fuck off to like, and I lived off the island, so I'd take like an hour-and-a-half bus, go to hang out at the mall, maybe see some friends, go to the movie, whatever. I'd spend the whole fucking day there, right? Or maybe I did that once a month or once every 2 weeks, right? Seeing a movie was like a minor idea. It was like, oh, well, what's the movie cost? $7. Oh, okay, whatever, $7 or whatever, right? And now that you can't loiter in the mall, unless you're buying something.
I mean,
you can't do that.
That's.
The kids can't hang out.
That hasn't changed that much. That's pretty much the same thing. They
can't afford to buy anything to eat. They can't go to the goddamn movie theater. I remember when it went from 25 cents to 50 cents a token at Atlas 2000.
Before we hit that dollar.
How that was like
outrageous.
So you look at it as like, oh, it's twice as expensive. Like, no, it's not, because the quarters come so fast in the early thing. It's actually like 3 times more expensive because the way that your shit works out.
I mean, to be honest, like it's mainly, again, it's not just a change in like the economy and stuff. It's just habit wise, like the idea of not having anything to do, having all these dead moments of time as a kid and just filling it with random shit is super gone, right? The idea of like, yeah, going to a mall and just finding ways to dick around or whatever. Like you could go still sit at a food court for hours or whatever, and security's not going to bug you about that.
Depends where you live. It
depends where you live, but
we got somebody in the chat who lives in the EU where they use sonic disruptors to attack teenagers.
But like in general, people just don't even, like, a bunch of kids don't go shopping in a particular way. You know what I mean? Again, you don't have a ton of disposable income necessarily in most cases. I just think that you're looking at a time frame as well where you're like, hey, there was a time when the nerdiest kid on the block would still be out there somewhat with riding the bikes around a bit, and
they'd be somewhere
and then
out of the house.
But then maybe they'd be at the comic shop, or like if there was an arcade or there's somewhere else to play a game or something. And then they'd watch more games, play more watch more movies, play more games, and do more of that than the rest of the people, right? Than the rest of the kids. So like I
was an introverted shut-in, and I rode my bike around town.
Exactly.
And went out places.
That was the case, exactly. And now the fucking jockiest jock of the group on the block in the neighborhood is scrolling TikTok and like posting and keeping up with whatever's going on, and like following UFC or whatever sport things like it's still they're an inside online person with those activities.
Dead center in the middle of the timeline of just go outside, right?
Yeah.
I loved my video games, and so I would like pray for rainy days, because on rainy days mom and dad wouldn't give me any guff for staying in to play Genesis, right? But if it was a nice day, I'd go ride my bike or go fucking, I don't know, do some bullshit, do some stupid child bullshit, right? But the thing that drove me completely nuts, it made me go crazy, which is it'd be a nice day and I'd be chilling around the house. My mom would go, "Why don't you go out and play baseball on like a random Saturday afternoon?"
Yeah,
I go,
yeah.
"What?
With who's doing what? Like,
Who?"
yeah,
She's like, "Go down to the
yeah,
park and
yeah,
play
yeah.
baseball with the kids there." I'm like,
Exactly.
"Mom, there's no kids
It's not as
at the. What the fuck are you talking about? What are you?"
and
Right? So we got to see that, right? That era of like our parents were just like, just go outside. There's just tons of people outside. To which we respond with, no, there's not.
yeah, yeah.
And now we get to see the next generation be told by people our age. Like I know other parents and friends who like, I don't understand why the kids on their phone all the time. I tell them to go outside and I go, well, where are they supposed to go? They go, I don't know, away. Like there's and here's my favorite part. Here's my favorite part, right? They with kids always on their phone. And like, okay, well, what else do they have to do? It's like, well, they're not allowed to go here and they're not allowed to go here and they can't go too far from the house and they can't go here. And I don't know about that friend's house because I don't know about those parents. And they start listing the fucking things and you're like, you want your kid to go just play with dirt in your own backyard.
I mean, look, being extroverted now means being at home, popping off on Warzone, Call of Duty,
or Valorant,
and being introverted means being at home, popping off on FF14. That's the difference now.
Actually, both of those types of people can play FF14.
Sure, but you get the spirit of what I'm saying. Like that's the world now. You know. It's the same shit. So anyway,
I spoke to a fellow adult with a child who was angry at their son who is in high school for crossing the street to go to the convenience store without permission because he could have gotten hit by a car. And I was like, and in my brain, I'm like, that kid's gonna start doing drugs tomorrow.
That's fucked. That is not a good place to start. You are. Yeah. Anyway, all this to say, that Furiosa is fucking. It was really good, man. I really enjoyed it.
Was it worth seeing in a movie theater?
Definitely. And I'd say the reason why, similar to Dune, where it's a very visual spectacle. It's a masterpiece of just like, yes, the taking in the full breadth of a shot. A lot like both of those movies are the type of movies you want to see in the theater, because like you're getting a ton of like vast desert exterior, you know what I mean? Like moments where the characters on screen are like a 5% of the frame and you just take it all in. It works great in the theater. So Furiosa in particular, I will say, is like, okay, you're going into this and everybody knows it's like, look, Mad Max Fury Road is it's just one of the GOATs. It's one of the all-time great films. It's like that is going to be on any list of the best movies ever made going forward. It's
great.
Unbelievable. It's fucking I can't anyway, So
I know.
Coming into this, right, it's like, okay, are you going to get Fury Road 2? No, not necessarily. But you are getting that same setting. You're getting the same flavor and all of that applied to, well, it's called a Mad Max saga, and it's applied to, a saga, like a longer story. The brevity of Fury Road is really what helps a lot of it work so well, is because it's like it's a single road war over the course of a couple days, and this is following the entire origin story of this character. So it has to stay in this world over time. That's going to come with like some more vulnerabilities, and it's going to come with things that it has to take chances on that are a little more risky, but like it changes the pacing from a fucking tight solid unit to things that'll lull and then pick back up, right? So it is not better or equal to Fury Road at all.
I have to say, this is technically related, though it's more of an annoyance with the world at large. I got spoiled on a detail of this movie.
Probably doesn't matter, but yeah.
Oh, it doesn't.
Yeah.
But the manner in which I did was so annoying that I feel like I have to bring it up. So sometimes I'll be scrolling through whatever, and like the meme of the year or whatever will show up, and like, oh, is that FS? Oh, not interested. Don't show me that.
Yeah, this happens to you enough, and to me like that. This has been happening to you a bunch. Every time I brought up a movie recently, you've had these moments, and I'm just like, I aggressively go dark until I can get a chance.
I don't intend to go dark every day of my life.
Yeah.
Which I would have to do.
Sure.
So, but I've been getting better about like nipping it in the bud by using the not interested thing. But what came up was one of the actors' TikTok accounts, the big bald guy, the very large, gigantic bald man, who's the son of Immortan Joe.
Yeah, Rictus Erectus.
Yeah. Speaking as an actor, going, hey guys, I just want to let you know that movies are not real. You can stop yelling at me in my inbox for the actions of my character, please.
That's sure. What?
And I'm like, oh, really? This okay.
I don't even fully know what that means, though. So I would say you're probably still clear on whatever spoiler you think you heard. Because I'm like, yeah, no, that's fairly minor in any case. Like they're there and stuff, but that's not in any way impacting what I took away or what was happening there. So no, that's nothing. That's a big old.
Oh, no. Again, not the content. The medium is the annoyance.
Right. Okay. Yes. I'll admittedly, swiping up and getting algorithmed into a TikTok about something that you want to see is like definitely a shitty way to get exposed to things.
The Joffrey kid, the Skylar White lady, the queen in the Game of Thrones.
Cersei.
It's not. It's make believe, you fucking idiots.
Yeah.
It's a fucking TV show.
I mean, to be fair, fucking to Joffrey, like he was so good in that role that like even people who are like, I know you were just acting, but like it's one of those things of like you couldn't cast it any more perfect. He's one of the best casting choices of like the last fucking decade easily, and to the point where he's like, yeah, I think I'm done. He's came from the theater, and then he's like, I think I'm out of acting. I'm good. It's like, yeah, I get it. Leave on a high note. Like you did such a good job making everyone hate you by being the quintessential shit kid. I don't know that there's any reinventing, changing up the image or not getting typecast, for a long time. So, anyway, incredible. So yeah, Furiosa is, it's just, it's going back to tell the story of Furiosa. And so I didn't see Queen's Gambit, so I wasn't too familiar with Anna Taylor-Joy, but like seeing obviously that, you'd have to go get a young, a younger version of her and kind of follow her through the ages and stuff. It's interesting because she has such a distinct face, compared to Charlize Theron's Furiosa, that you really look like a different person.
Okay, so like I've seen some bits and pieces of Anna Taylor-Joy in various stuff, and she seems rock solid. But in terms of playing a younger version of a different actress, she is unmistakably Anna Taylor-Joy.
Yes. So there you do.
Like there's no
exactly.
You're not going to squish those eyes closer to your nose in the flashback.
Yeah, you're not pretending this person like turns into that. It's like, okay, this is just a different version of that character with a very
I do get to the Cloud District often. Thank you.
But she does a great job with it. And I think first hearing about this movie as well, I was like, is this the Crimes of Grimwald? Is this the spin-off thing that no one asked for that is just keeping the franchise?
Name fucking shit?
That's one of them, isn't it? I'm pretty sure that's one of them. The Crimes of Grimwald.
Okay. So I want to let you know, You said Grimwald, and that's pretty close. And I somehow misheard you and typed in Grindelwald, which is also wrong.
Great. Right.
The Crimes of Grindelwald. Wow, that
Grindelfuck.
just rolls right off the tongue.
Grindelfuck. Like what? Like just. The franchise needs to have a spin-off sequel to keep the IP relevant and keep it making money, and maybe we can spin off from the spin-off and keep that going as a brand new thing.
I saw some talk about how the Grindel shit or whatever is actually a repurposed Doctor Who movie idea.
Oh wow.
And
no
that's
kidding.
why it is so tonally dissonant from all that stupid Harry Potter shit.
Interesting. Well, I mean, either way, I was kind of like hoping that that's not what we were looking at here, and and especially because that like every time something comes out and it's the product of an entire lifetime of someone's been building up their story. They've been drawing under Trapper Keeper in high school, and then they eventually deliver this incredible thing. And
this whole time, they're just like, man, I hope Kojima writes a movie review about my movie.
Yeah, and doesn't just write like, I saw the movie, I saw Furiosa, and that's it. I saw Madam Web.
Yeah.
Furiosa, wow, what a great movie.
Just pages and pages of tweets about Furiosa.
But yeah, so Fury Road took like 20 years in the making with not just George Miller and like the plans and stuff, but like Brendan McCarthy, the Judge Dredd artist that was working on Reboot, who made the Bad Bob episode, which is a send up to Mad Max, and then used that to inspire what Fury Road was doing. So there's a link between fucking Reboot and Mad Max. It's crazy. All of that ended up being a large, long tale as to how this movie came out and why it was so good and how much work went into it in advance. And now here you have the spinoff that's coming out, and you're like, okay, can it have had as much work and stuff put into it? And it's like, well, it turns out that it wasn't just a spinoff out of nowhere to like keep this thing going. When they were making Fury Road, they went into so much detail on every character that they wrote all of Furiosa's backstory alongside everyone else's backstory.
Right there.
And it was all right there. And then they went,
okay.
this would make it for a great film. And so they just decided to do that. There's a book called Blood, Sweat, and Chrome that talks about the making of, like all the Fury Road and everything in that. So this was a story that was already there, ready to go. Incredible. So in that, you just get what is not, it is not Fury Road, but it's still a very fucking awesome look into the world, into stuff that is hinted at in Fury Road. And there's moments in this where you for one thing, I'll just say on terms of like sound and visual effects and everything like that, just of course fucking incredible. It's delivering on that in the same very impressive way. There's the whole thing about Fury Road where they have a ton of love for practical effects, and it's still they're like, I thought there's a rumor that like, oh, there's no special effects anywhere in it. It turned out that
no, there absolutely is.
Yeah, it turns out that's not true, because in an interview Miller said, 90% of what you see is based on practical effects, and so that people,
because there's a practical effect underneath. And but juice it a little bit.
Yes, exactly. Some 2,000 of 2,400 shots, I believe, right? So in this case, similarly, there's a lot of that going on. But with all that said, there's still a lot of love for like real giant rigs, real practical effects where they can, vehicles and real props everywhere. And it's awesome to just see like when they're like, okay, we can shoot this entire sequence with a truck and some stunt riders all coordinating in a really tight way and some flamethrowers and get a rad scene. And you're just like, all right, color grade that, change the sky, make shit more orange, go, there's a really fucking cool moment where a character is standing on a cliffside, and in the distance, in the background, there is a truck driving down the road, and a bunch of like bikers are like assaulting the truck and trying to hijack it. And like from one side of the frame to the other, the camera just pans as the character's looking, and it all takes place in about a minute. but you see the fight unfold in the
Just from
distance,
really far away.
You see all the things happen, the shots, the bikers doing all the things as if and you're just watching it from the distance, from the bleachers, and then as it pulls up to the far left side of the frame, the truck comes to a stop, and you're like, whoa, that's just a bunch of actors, stunts, and real props doing their thing. I love those moments, and you get a lot of that here, where you're like, this is enhanced, but this team involved did an incredible job with costuming and all that great shit that you remember from from Fury Road,
So I just watched the trailer just now. Well, just a little bit of the trailer, and I have to ask. I saw in the trailer that Furiosa starts that movie with 10 fingers and 2 arms. And this is a fairly rare detail that you see in prequel stuff. But how much of the movie are you sitting there going like, is this gonna be the part where the fucking arm gets chopped off?
Are they like did she walk by a bunch of buzzsaws and go like, whoa, that was close? Or like a car wheel just like slams down to the left.
Oh,
It's like,
thank God that didn't land on my
Jesus,
arm.
Whew. Oh man, yeah, that's incredible. But no, I mean, to be perfectly honest, like, they spend so much time going through her life and like the arc of things, you don't even get really an Anna Taylor-Joy until like an hour in.
Oh, okay.
So trust, there's a lot to cover, and
Is the movie long?
Yeah, it's two and a half.
Is that long?
I mean,
because when I think of long, I think of the time that I snuck in to see Inglourious Bastards and what like a horrible mistake that was.
Okay, so to me, I could sit and do a 4-hour movie and fucking handle it, but I've come to understand that for most folks, 2.5 is like, oh, okay, that's a really long movie,
So I'm
90
torn.
minutes being the other end of the spectrum.
I'm really torn over a film being 2.5 hours long being long, because the first episode of a miniseries on Netflix is like an hour and 15 minutes.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
And that's an episode. And it's like, that is damn near, like, I've seen movies that were like an hour and 15 minutes long.
Yeah. To me, I'm like, if I see 3, we're getting into what I would consider long territory. But anyway, yeah, this is, and the thing is too, is don't forget that we're on a sliding scale. What used to not necessarily be long becomes longer as your audience gets more and more like, what's happening on my phone? Shit, I want to check the latest. Did I get an update? Like the TikTok braining is making folks a little more antsy,
I want to clarify something. I fucking love Inglourious Bastards. When I say sneaking in to see it was a horrible mistake, that's because I had just finished watching a different 3-hour movie and then just walked across and just walked into Inglourious Bastards, not knowing that it was 3 hours and 40 fucking minutes long.
Okay, that's a lot. That is a lot.
That was a huge mistake.
But nonetheless,
you can just do that. Yeah, if you're willing to commit crimes, guys. It's theft.
Nonetheless, I would say that a movie that perhaps didn't feel that long as a kid might feel longer now as attention spans have gotten shorter globally, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, 2.5 is considered long. All that being said, based on what I said there, you can imagine that they take their time setting things up and doing a really good job of doing so. There's moments where, again, you feel like there's pacing moments that feel like you kind of like, oh, that's a little stilted. Why'd that happen? And you get a little confused about that. And you don't get that in Fury Road, right? So there are those moments. But what I will say that like is fucking awesome is like, also like, and you have Chris Hemsworth, Dementis, who's like yucking it up as a character in that, and he's charismatic as a goofball, but he's no Immortan Joe, certainly.
No. And
don't go in expecting something of similar ilk, because he's not. He's full of charisma, but not the same kind at all, hams it up. The things that feel like they're kind of these moments that like are a little stilted or so, though, when it all comes together, there's a really awesome, like, there's a lot of stuff the movie's doing that is meant to like for example, homage the Odyssey, right? That's a huge piece of what's happening. So things about where the characters go, like the journey she goes on, right? Where there's literally chariots. There's a Trojan horse moment, and of course you know about like the fate of the place she came from based on Fury Road. You know, so like all of that is very clear that they're trying to make this like an Odyssey for this character, and by following those beats, things make sense, right? She also has these great moments of like making decisions that are like, that's a stupid decision. Why would you do that? That seems like something that someone who is not very good at survival in this land would do. And it's like, no, but these are the same decisions that are consistent with her character in Fury Road. And the things that you look at that go like, oh, that would be a dumb thing to do, would be like, yeah, but she's made these kind of impulsive decisions, you know, in the first movie you saw, and it kind of explains a bit of how she is the way she is, right? So there's a little bit of that you got to stretch your brain out to do, like, oh, okay, right, let's connect these pieces together to flesh out who this character is and why. There is an awesome subtext as well to things going on here that is like, you know, this is an apocalyptic setting, and post-apocalyptic is of course the descriptor here, but really interesting things they do in this movie is like there's an undercurrent like that is kind of set where the four horsemen of the apocalypse are actually represented in characters in the movie.
Cool.
Right? Immortan Joe is fucking pestilence. Look at his diseased fucking
Oh yeah,
ass,
he's gross, bro.
right? You have a people eater that is famine. You have a bullet farmer that is war, you know? And so like with all that being set up, there's a through line with her story that is like, okay, and like who is the role of death? What does that mean? And that is something that's so like, it's interesting because like it passes on for its roles helm to helm in the movie, sometimes literally. And again, when you're kind of following through the metaphors that it's setting up, you're like, okay, now I understand why these moments of like again stilted pacing are like they're trying to heavily make the metaphor travel and land where it's supposed to, you know. So there I'm like, I can understand, and I think that's awesome because you're going for something better here. You're trying to deliver a story that has, you know, some meat on the bones, you know, underneath the flavoring and the surface. So yeah, that is all just really, really good stuff. And you know, without getting into any spoilers or anything, it's also a great revisit to that setting, to the you know, the characters and the motivations and the fucking Joe's there, and you get to the Citadel and you see you get to see your bullet farm, you get to see your gas town, you know, and all of those.
I really wanted to see the bullet farm. That's cool.
Yeah, you know, and you get to see, of course, you know, where the Vuvulani come from, and why they're so good at what they're good at. And everything just really complements Fury Road excellently. So go catch that, and then yeah, there's and like, yeah, there's more fun subtext discussion in this, and they do things in a really interesting way. But you have a character that is a Max-like that you see in the trailers, you know, this very serious, all about his business type of dude, and he's a fucking awesome character as well. That is, you know, like you get your Mad Max stand-in, and you're like, okay, who's this fucking dude gonna be? And like, he does a pretty good job just being what he is. While it's like, this is not Max, but that energy, you can feel.
I'm a different guy that is, you know? I'm fulfilling the role.
Yeah, he's doing the job. So anyway, go catch Furiosa however you can. If the theater run is done and there's no way to do this justice, like, it's absolutely worth seeing, and it's it's an incredible addition to Fury Road, while not being at all better than, or, you know, supplanting in any way. Just going with the expectations there. Cool.
You know, I saw someone mention it. I actually did watch a movie that I never brought up on the podcast. I watched Napoleon.
Oh yeah, I watched Napoleon too, on a plane.
You watched it on a plane?
I watched Napoleon on a plane.
Yeah, so I watched it on a plane also.
Oh, there you go.
But I watched it in what I think to be the optimal way to watch any movie on the plane, which is over the shoulder of the guy in front of me with no sound.
Okay. I was the one
intermittently falling asleep.
Yeah, that's how I saw the Elvis movie. I did mention, you know.
Let me tell you, I don't think that movie's very good.
It's got some fun bits. It honestly, it's so goofy, but it's one of those things where you're like, I would have been equally as entertained with Joaquin Phoenix in costume, sitting on an empty stage on a stool, just yucking it up, just walking about, shitting and farting and yelling, you know, and getting cucked out by a Josephine off camera, you know, like I would have equally have been entertained.
I think Napoleon seemed like a massive bitch in that movie, and I don't get what all the fuss is about.
No, he's a great leader. Don't cuck him. No. Yeah. Anyways,
before we get away from Mad Max, I'm well aware that recency bias is a massive thing for everybody, not just you and I, but also big Hollywood directors who is now besties with Kojima, as seen of recent photos of them about to kiss, and the fact that George Miller is in the Death Stranding 2. But he was quoted as like, you know, if I had to make another Mad Max game, I really wish Kojima would do it. I really didn't like that old one. And George Miller's like a massive asshole because one, that game ruled, and two, that team had to fight against his production company every day of development because they wouldn't send them anything. They were terrified of spoilers for Mad Max Fury Road, so they wouldn't send them what like the fucking cars look like or what the setting was like or anything.
That's so insane because one of the main antagonists in Furiosa, the biker horde and Dementis, are first referenced in the game, and the game mentions the 40-day gas war and shit like that, and like this is all expanding on stuff that was heard about first in the fucking video game, man.
Oh, so like that game is like really good, genuinely,
and has canon shit.
Having to fight the studio over it crazy. Over and over.
Damn.
And so for him to go like, that game wasn't good, though the one that I would work on with Kojima, that's
I mean, you know, I could see it being a thing where it's like not enough characters having their human moments, too much carring around, you know, which admittedly I like a lot of the setting is fucking awesome as the cars are carring it up, but it's the humans in the vehicles that are having their moments. You got to have your shadow cut so that you can only see the eyes of Furiosa as she's looking out the windshield, you know. The vehicles are just representations of their emotions manifest. I mean, quite literally at certain points in that movie, actually. Cars are stands, you know.
Yeah, they just are.
Mm-hmm.
They just are.
Anyway. So moving on from that, and let's try to keep this going. Finished off Crow Country, and that is a short, sweet survival horror, and just like Silent Hill 2, at the last second,
it just goes ka-chunk, and everything just fits.
Oh, the last second, you're like, oh, okay, this is great. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
It took the finale to really make it land.
There are like 25 details that all just perfectly clicked into place.
I would say that I think to that end, Signalis did a better job of like giving you enough breadcrumbs that were interesting to the finale, like working out really well. I think Crow Country, like it at the end, and the things, the breadcrumbs make all perfect sense in the end. But the breadcrumbs you get up front are, some of them are interesting, but some of them are just like, I can't do anything with this information, so it means nothing to me. You know.
There's one. So I think everyone should play Crow Country. It's short, it's cheap, it's classic, it's incredible. But there are a lot of details that are playing on you, the assumption that you have exhaustive survival horror knowledge. And I'm gonna
I
write
don't.
one of the details to Wooly,
Okay.
right? Because it is like it kept bugging me the whole game. And all I'll say for the audience, if you know, you know, it's what's going on with your health bar.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Sure. Well, he'll write that out. Yeah. I think there's an art to letting the breadcrumb that you get be a really tasty morsel, and then when you finally see what it leads to, there's a crazy payoff. And sometimes if your breadcrumb is not particularly tasty, you'll be like, okay, this is a breadcrumb, I don't know what to do with it, so I'll just hold on to it, but I don't have any feelings one way or the other about it. And I felt
so
like
I sent you what I'm talking about.
um interesting. Okay, that is, yeah, there is a subtle piece of fucking, yeah, okay, that's a wild detail about this. Meant nothing to me the entire
It's
time I was
something that I
playing this.
noticed right away, and noticed every single time I
see.
healed my character, and went, what?
Okay, gotcha. Okay, let's hit some spoilers.
We're gonna spoil Crow Country in what, 10 seconds?
5, 4, 3.
There you go. Okay. We're spoiling it. All right. So, there's so much going on. So what I'm talking about the health bar is that despite the fact that it uses the classic fine caution, orange caution, danger health bar that like RE1, RE2, RE3 uses. But the heartbeat sound effect is always there. It's always there. Which is weird because the heartbeat sound effect denotes near death in nearly every survival horror game.
There's no way I'm catching that, man.
Right?
Jesus Christ.
It can also denote in certain games poison.
Uh-huh.
So you get to the end and your health bar changes once you've taken off your fake hair to infected, which is a reference to RE3.
That's an RE3. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
I did notice it. I just paused and saw that my status became infected, and I was like, oh, interesting. Yeah, I guess so. She's sick, right? And then there's stuff that's like the breadcrumbs where you can do something with that. Where you're like, oh, when she's looking through the names and the thing, she's looking through the E section as opposed to the M section, right? But up front, the first thing in the game is, of course, she goes, hey, if anyone asks, my name is Amara. You know, so she's like,
yeah, the beginning of the game is really funny in retrospect.
Straight up to right there, to the point where I was like, it wasn't even a piece of like revealing information to be like, oh, holy shit, you're gonna have that moment, because it just, the first thing you learn is she's trying to give herself another identity / she's trying to recap something that she needs to remember. If anybody asks, say your name is Mara, you know.
One of the things that really stands out right away when you go get ammo in the back of your car is that in the back of your car you can just barely make out a box of hair dye.
Yeah, hair dye, exactly. But I guess the thing is that like hair dye still didn't mean anything except like, oh, she's got a fake hair color. Okay, there must be a reason for that. Then for me, you meet the first adult, and it's like a person sitting on the ground, and then you never get to stand next to them because you carry them over to the car, and it fades to black and fades to back to him in the car. So you're like, okay, you don't get that. Then you meet the cop, Harrison,
and he's huge
and he's giant. You're like, oh, he's a giant cop. And then one NPC later, the lawyer that's banging on the door, and I'm like,
you're like, wait a second.
Oh, I'm a
These
child.
Are adults.
Oh, I'm a child. That's okay. You're like, is this the art style? It's like, no. You're exactly. So that was something that comes in right away, you know. But then as you're kind of looking at things, you're like, oh, okay, here's a number, but we're not gonna. None of these keypads have a 0 on them.
I was talking to Susie about this. It is one of the, we're both like marking out the whole game that there is not a single keypad or puzzle in the entire game that lets you punch in the number 0.
Yeah. So
it's so smart.
That's an interesting way of doing that for sure. But definitely until that point, you're like, okay, well, this is a breadcrumb that I don't have anything to do with, because either I'll eventually get a keypad with a 0, or this is just nothing, right? And then it starts being written on the wall a lot, and you're like, oh, this is more than just a secret key code to something. It's actually got its plot significance, so we'll see. But yeah, there were quite a few moments of like just sustained yeah, I don't know what this is, but I guess we'll see where it lands, you know. And that final conversation, of course, because all the characters being sketchy and the whole thing about, you know, the gold and such is all like still building up a very clear like, oh, bad things.
I was so impressed. I thought the gold was going to be a completely separate storyline about the funding of whatever nightmare bullshit you got going on down here.
Could have been.
I did not expect it to be actually the core of the issue.
And yeah, it certainly could have been. And the way it plays out, where they connect the two quite well together by the end of that, for sure, and becomes, of course, the major problem. The characters and the sketchy people you're meeting and everyone being suspicious. Again, you're like, all right, just
including your own character.
Yeah, suspend disbelief until further notice. You know, the cops being sketchy, right, etc. But something that was really cool was just like, okay, so what is our problem here? Take your pick whether you want to go with a climate change analogy or a fossil fuel analogy, but like the future is calling and saying there is bad things you need to stop.
Calling and saying leave the future, get out of here.
And one fucker is like, yeah, but what about me though? Got me mines, getting rich, getting good. Everybody shut up, don't worry about it. And like it's far enough in the future that you're like, well, that's barely 1 or 2 kids from now, but I'll be long gone.
The actual game actually points out that some of the people, Mara specifically, may be able to live long enough to see what is happening.
Possibly.
They're the just the right age.
So yeah, and there's your perfect analogy for just like, oh yeah, the current generation that is willing to destroy all things to get their comfort in them now, and like over what, right? And you have an interesting thing too with the character of Edward Crow, because you're like, he's somebody who is weirdly apologetic about some things, like, oh, I made this cure, oh, I've accepted my fate, oh, I'm going to look for what I consider to be an appropriate end because he's suffering, and you know, he's kind of writing a poetic end to things, but is still the person that was willing to go this far over fucking nothing. And a nice touch that is interesting is like, they don't open up the letter he wrote to his daughter, but you can only imagine what that would say, because what does someone who is currently destroying the future say to the person he's leaving the future to? Yeah. Right? What the fuck does that letter look like?
There's something about the timing of sick ass, there's gold here, to realization, to fuck it, gold though, to oh man.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
And I think it's important too that his dad is the one that found it. He inherited it.
He didn't even do anything.
He didn't set this whole thing up. He just took over the reins, and now he's used to that, and now he's like, well, we can't stop this, you know? So it's more of the like, yeah, but we've been on this train. It's been fine. Let it continue to be, you know?
I think the game might have one of the smartest budgetary decisions tied into a narrative I've ever seen in my entire life for any game. So the game is indie, it's short, it's well made, but they're not punching big with dollars here. And one of the smartest things they've done is that enemies don't have attack animations.
Oh, they just kind of walk into you.
It's exclusively contact damage.
Interesting.
Because none of the enemies are trying to attack you.
Wait, hold on. No, big boy swings at you. Big guy.
Which one?
The big guy whose head, not the skinny big guy, not the skinny one, but the big, thick,
the meat man?
Big, thick man is holding something in his hands.
He does? Really?
He has a swing towards you as you run by him.
Everybody else just tries to touch you.
He's carrying something in his hand, and he definitely takes a swing at you.
Huh.
Because I killed a lot of the stuff beforehand, so I didn't get to see a full amount of it. But that was a thing. He's holding a root piece. Okay, and you can see a bunch of root pieces elsewhere too.
Yeah. But like, yeah, they're trying to touch you. They're not trying to strangle you. And they even the lawyer even points that out. Is that when she gets trapped in the fucking what do you call it? The pipes with like 100 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And
they
she comes
didn't.
out completely fine but
Yeah,
sick.
yeah. And you're exposed like the natives were to some future germs, too fucking bad. Now, yeah, and that is definitely something too that is of course a proper like oof recontextualizer, which you're expecting it the whole time though, because they're called guests, right? So right off the bat you're kind of like, okay, what are we gonna do to find out that none of this is as like this is way more horrible than it seems, and none of these fucking headshots are as justified. And it's like, oh yeah, like by fucking going further and further into this process, after seeing them getting tortured in the basement and shit, it's like the ones that come out as just a puddle of unrecognizable goop. Like they get stronger and stronger until the final form is the weakest, most nonsense pile.
I'm just a pile of goo moving around.
Yeah, so that's proper fucked and everything about that. And then what I really find especially strong too here is the closing lines, where you're like, oh, you've been saving this entire time. Well, here, now that we're talking about the context of the future, I feel something of curious mix of hope and dread. Maybe everything will be okay. Maybe it won't. Roll your fucking credits. That was great.
I also that final sequence right before the final boss where you lay out all your stupid items on a table.
Yep.
And
I remember that.
Oh, you remember that stupid key?
Yeah.
I love that.
And I remember emptying my pockets in Silent Hill, and it's like, oh no, I don't like this feeling. But like, yeah, that was another like, okay, oh, this thing from the genre, losing your full inventory that's been important to you the whole time. It is interesting because coming at this as, again, genre outsider, catching a couple of these references but not to the fullest. Yeah, I think I chalk it up as just like, yeah, pretty fucking good.
It's
short
great.
and sweet. I do have, again, things that there's problems there that I wish weren't. The dumbness of, again, that one mushroom puzzle. I had a weird bug where the final shot you take on Ed Crow, like it just didn't connect. So I shot a couple bullets of different kinds and none of them worked till I just had to flamethrow him, and then I got So big old tension killer right there. And I already talked about the mask in the well and stuff like that. So yeah, it is it is something where I do wish that like the flatline slow increase into I guess it is a sine shape, right? That just shoots up. I do wish there was a bit more of a gradual incline and a couple more meaty things to chew on as you approached the finale. But I still think it was quite enjoyable, especially once you get there. But I definitely feel like just again to compare to Signalis, which is the most recent indie survival
Signalis
thing.
is like perfect.
Yeah, and but I just all that to say, just like learning about the profiles of the characters and the types and the things that were happening and such, I was very invested. So that by the time the finale hit in that, I was like, oh shit, like you feel for the characters in the setting and why they're there and what they went through, massively so. Here you get a bit of your near one sort of thing of like recontextualize the whole game and then recontextualize what the motivations were, but you're just kind of question marking everything up until that point, and I like when there's a few more things stabbed into the map, so to speak. Anyway, it was good. Hey, how about that fucking Shin Megami Tensei V for Vengeance?
The following opinions are technically sponsored. We both got sponsored with money to play SMT5 Vengeance.
So I beat the original SMT5.
Oh, you did? Oh, geez, I didn't even know that.
Oh yeah, no, super. And like it is phenomenal. And that's one of those things where so going into this. So yeah, you didn't see it until now, right?
I played it up until the first dot.
Okay.
I fought the tower demon.
Yeah.
And I was just getting like more and more like annoyed at the switch. Like I'd run across that first big field underneath the tower and the switch would catch on fire.
Right. Okay.
And I'd be like, ah.
So something I noticed upon completion and stuff, and just kind of seeing how people felt about it, a lot of folks were saying that a lot of feedback I saw was people going like, yeah, they didn't like the story as much in the setting, and or they had, I mean, issues with the dry desert running through Naruto running through the desert. I can understand that not being everyone's cup of tea. Um, Plot wise, yeah, I saw some criticism for it that I was like, oh well, if this is coming from a point of view of like the comparison point is Nocturne and I guess prior entries, I can't really speak to that. I
I
played.
thought the primary complaint was just there wasn't enough story.
I thought, but I came out the other end really enjoying it because there certainly wasn't enough on the way. It's similar to actually what I just said about Crunchy, where they're like, on the journey up to that finale point, you're not getting enough. I do agree with that. But from the finale, when you choose your law ending, your order ending, your neutral, and then your true neutral, that ride is awesome. And the reveals of what's happening in that setting for real are phenomenally cool. Um, and I played 4 as well, and I didn't play
Or
I didn't play Apocalypse. I just played original
or
4.
so good.
4 is really good.
Apparently, Apocalypse is even better than 4. And just to let you know, it's really, really easy to get running on Citra.
I see.
You don't have to do anything. You just put it in.
4 was fucking phenomenal, and 5, when I got to that point of like getting the full truth about the setting and your true ending and everything, I felt similarly satisfied with what I got out of that. My only caveat, I think, is and this comes up a little bit even in Persona as well, and it comes up in any time we play any games where our power levels need to be checked. There's a massive, clear, awesome parallel to Christian mythology told throughout this that is metal as shit. You
Oh,
know,
it's super interesting.
I mean, it's not even. It's like, yeah, the one of the intro premises that is like, oh yeah, so God is one of many gods that actually just made all the rest depowered, like turned them into
It's like, you guys don't know shit.
right. The introduction to the beginning of the game, they're straight up like, yeah, God made all the other gods demons, and then took that knowledge, put it in a tree, and then Lucifer tempted the humans to eat from that tree. But
And
meanwhile,
the humans were like, yeah.
like we're already starting out strong, right? But that is something that is like predicated on this, yeah, deep, awesome reinterpretation of Christian mythology. Now, if you don't happen to have a full understanding of the Japanese creation myth with Susanoo, the Amanozako, Nahobinos, and Magatsuhi, you might not have some of the major points hit in the same way in this game, which
Yeah, no,
they
it's
do.
like assuming that you know a lot about the theological backgrounds of two completely different cultures.
Yeah. There's a
Well, a
whole
lot of people are gonna have one half.
yes. And so I was able to really appreciate the Christian half of what they were doing there because it and the thing is that the Christian half ties things together. Well, okay, I mean ultimately without trying to like spoil if folks are going through it. And I don't know about any of the newer ending stuff, but with SMT5 original, you're upfront getting your Christian mythology, and then it's interweaved with your main character being from Japanese mythology. And that Japanese mythology stuff comes up more and more as you get through deeper into the story. And there's things where you're like, the reveal is that. I don't know what that.
I don't know who any of you guys are.
I don't recognize what version of an Amatsu no Kami you are. Like, yeah, like there's a lot of that.
Crazy. The conception?
Right. They're like is Kusanagi's and grass cutters, Orochi's wine glasses. What are we doing over here?
Wow.
So yeah, there's a little bit of that, right? Where you're like, if you, it'll mean a lot less when those moments occur. But what is ultimately interesting is that it's trying to sew and attach all these creation myths together in this way because they all exist, and you've got Odin hanging out over there, and you've got you've got your Shivas hanging out on the other side, etc. It all interweaves. That's the setting, and the Christian mythology is nestled in at the top of this pyramid until you zoom out. until you zoom out. And so what the true neutral path does is that it zooms out. And you're like, oh fuck, that's really sick what you're doing here. I like that a lot. And so yeah, SMT5 was great.
I think one of the craziest things about SMT5's endings, and this is not a spoiler to folks, is that they finally learned that playing SMT4 with that guide open so that you knew what every single fucking goddamn response to Walter or whoever the fuck's like, do you want to say yes, I'd like some peanut butter? Oh, that's order, is just stupid fucking bullshit. That sucks. And both paths just let you pick the vast majority of your endings. You just go, I would like to do this one, please.
Yes, in fact, I was pleasantly surprised because I was talking about like, oh, what point will the new content enter? And in this case,
right away,
the first thing you do in video game is I want the new content, please. And then yeah, some of that gets interwoven fairly quickly, where you have a new character walking into the story, doing shit, interrupting cutscenes, and the new mechanic that is guest characters starts playing in as well. The quality
I was surprised at how different it was right away, because like I said, in the original I only played to the end of the first dot, which is the first big area.
Yeah. Tokyo Tower
it's like
and stop or beyond.
Tokyo Tower, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And then get to the train and it's like, hey, wow, new boss fight.
Yep.
Thumbs up. And most of the party is guests.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting.
And then like a really strong guest character hangs out with you for like, I don't know how long, but for a while.
Changes the beginning of the game, right? Yeah, people that were like having guest characters be a part of your party is a humongous deal, and turns this into a hybrid. Like, okay, so SMT, I mean, this is your main character, and you're rolling with your demon crew, right? Yeah. That's what you were doing in 4. That's what you do in Nocturne. Here, I'm like, oh, you're rolling with your demon crew, but also guests that are like Persona party members. Like, well, you're rolling other with summoners.
You're rolling with what would essentially be protagonists of other SMT games. That guy has the devil summoning program on his phone.
That's it. That
bitch just straight up does magic.
So in Persona, you're rolling with a bunch of other people who summon demons and themselves. But and so like here, I feel like you have both. You have other summoners and the demons themselves on your team. So is that how it is in 1 and 2? Okay, got it. Human party members mixed in. Thank you for the clarification. So that makes a huge difference in how that beginning of the game plays out. Quality of life stuff that changes immediately. That's really good too.
Save anywhere. Save anywhere.
Save anywhere is crazy. I'm so conditioned to running back to those ley lines. It's nuts to just be able to press left and
save anywhere is also crazy. When I did the stream, I was like, wow, they want this to be like a PC game's F5.
Yeah.
Because they put save the game on the left D-pad.
And they know that you might be playing this for the second time. So we're not going to let you skip. We're not going to let you load your old save, but we're going to try to make it as painless as possible to do the shit you already did, including the bird's eye view button, which is so good because you had a map, in the previous one, and you still have that.
It was okay.
It was okay. But now you straight up just zoom out because guess what? We're on platforms that can handle showing the rest of the environment from a distance that's drawn from far away. And you can just float above and go like, oh yeah, there's a dead end over here.
I see a Mimon over there.
Go collect it, right? Great stuff. And then they added the Chow Garden to go talk to your demons, and so
your demons can just tell you suck shit like 100 times in a row.
Great. I mean, if people are seeing the dialogue with some of the demons in these games, it's just like,
they're great.
Yeah. What the fuck was I before I was a slime? How the fuck should I know? Talking shit to you. But you get free levels, right? So once again, we know you might have done this already. Let's try to speed this process up. Go sit on that bench and talk to your bro, and he's going to give you free levels for doing so.
He's going to tell you young man and then a bunch of bullshit and then give you like 3 levels. Bam.
Young man, disregard strumpets, acquire currency. Acquire Magatsuhi, actually. Yeah, so that's great. And it is as something that I was like, I usually definitely dread the replay in a lot of cases. It's like here you're getting enough new early on in that it's like, oh, this would probably be a much smoother ride and a lot of fun to see how the changes come about.
Yeah, I think KZ is playing through Canon of Creation, which is the original campaign.
Yeah.
And the changes to just general mechanics plus the rails, which teleports you to
Yes, new areas with new demons in them.
A big difference.
That's the new areas on that you rail towards have a bunch of extra shit again, making you more powerful faster, right? It's all about getting you through the game quicker.
The other thing, I can't believe it wasn't there before. I can't believe the game didn't have any auto battle feature at all.
Auto battle was there, but it was just auto attack.
No, auto skill is what you need in an SMT game.
I like the level of smoothness that is auto skill is crazy because it memorized your cursor position per character, so you could just mash the button and auto Zeo the thing that's weak to Zeo, auto Aggie the thing that's weak to Aggie, and then move back around the list. But yeah, auto skill is like, oh, you've already exposed the weakness. We know what characters can hit it.
Yeah, it only works properly if you've really beat the guys into the dirt a couple times before.
Then go. Auto skill, everything will cast what it needs to. Fast forward this fight. We know the deal.
Unless the enemy's red.
Don't or you. I'm sure later on when you hit things that have absorb, drain, or reflect.
I don't know if you saw, but there was a Twitter video going around of somebody running up to a red Ipandatara and hitting auto battle, and Ipandatara, it just fast forwarded into the game over screen.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. That fucker's picks the hammer up and you're done. And I mean that, hey, SMT continues to be feast or famine, right? Press turn goes both ways. I know it's not necessarily the legendary what was it? The tutorial on hard for
Four's the worst. Four's the worst ever.
Where I mean, okay, so Minotaur just absolutely.
No, that's not even it, man. So you may not have discovered this, but I remember people were talking about it on damn near every forum that was talking about SMT4. If you went into the first room of the first dungeon in SMT4, you were fighting like multi-enemy fights, but it was just Flynn.
Okay.
And they would attack twice. And if one of them crit, you would just die.
Okay, that's not what I'm talking about though. Like I heard that Nocturne tutorial on hard is the hardest thing in the entire franchise because you have nothing and it has the full mechanics on your ass, and there is just a roll of the dice whether you don't get annihilated immediately. Like it is a pure coin flip, and game overing is just like it's gonna happen half the time at least. It's ridiculous is what I've been told, but yeah, anyway, all that is to say that these games continue to be as brutal as they were. So yeah, quick save, whatever, all that, roll through it quickly, get your levels quickly, all that, it's great. And I don't know if you unlocked any of the sick fucking Nahobino animations where he's doing the poses and the.
I have not unlocked any of the Nahobino animations.
Oh, he's doing it. He's yucking it up in these Sentai poses, and it's rad shit. Okay, well, anyway, yeah, that was great. I can't believe actually that I was looking at the time. I got to the ramp up to Tokyo Tower, and then I was like, fuck it, let's just try to beeline it. You spend a lot of time in that area doing side quests, leveling up, and getting strong enough to
just doing the regular gameplay loop of getting demons, fusing demons.
And so I ran straight to Hydra and managed to beat it first shot, and I was like, that's crazy, because this running this the first time around I would have been way incapable, underleveled, not ready to do it. And here, like, I managed to one shot it, and it was like on the last hit. It was a tough fight, but still, this was unthinkable in the previous run I did, So, yeah, sponsored SMT5, B, pretty fucking cool. And
also, I want to point out that it's really nice to go from playing the game on Switch that could like barely handle like 20 FPS to like 300 plus on my PC, and like how much of a big difference that makes wandering around the area.
Now the glorious blue twink hair will never be stuttering.
It's really ridiculous, the hair, because like there's even a new line of dialogue with the proto fiend Algami when you sit at the thing where he describes that like he doesn't have the hair.
Oh yeah, no, he doesn't. That's all main character.
But like you also don't have the hair,
which apparently like even though he had no canon name, they've now found there apparently is a canon debug name. If you use like hacks to skip forward past the naming, it automatically names him K Amamiya, I believe.
No, that's Amasura something.
Oh
like
no,
that.
something else. K something else. Yeah, rather.
Whatever.
Anyways, but yeah, he has also the conversations with demons that comment on the hair too, you know, and like in part
how
of
much conditioner you use? A lot.
Yeah, like it's great. It's great. So that's a lot of fun. If the only thing now I can just I hope though is that like I heard that in order to get some of the new stuff you have, so the Path of Vengeance, right? And then I believe there's another ending that is like going from one path and completing the other, New Game Plus style, has also some content too, possibly.
I believe there is a New Game Plus path in the canon of creation.
Yeah, well, so the True Neutral has those extra steps, but I don't know if like the second
Vengeance only has 2.
Okay, then yeah,
and it's pick one or the other.
Fair enough. All right. For a super boss, never mind. There's a super boss that requires it both. Yeah, cool. All right, so yeah, that was SMTVV. I also played First Cut Samurai Duel, just a quick little simple thing. Yeah, little pixel samurai game. Bushido Blade-like is what I would call it, because you have stances. Each stance counters the stance that your enemy is doing, and you take one hit and you die. So you got to play perfectly.
This seems like a cool Nidhogg sequel.
Yep, it is Nidhoggy. It is Bushido Bladey.
It is a shame they never made a second Nidhogg game.
And I was going to just go like, oh, let me throw this on Get into Fighting Games because it seems like you can duel and have some fun with that. Turns out there's a big single player thing going on with full, like you watch the trailer for it and there's more single player progression content than there is versus mode content. So it's like, oh, okay, fuck it, let's just do that. And then it turns out there's actually like co-op content. So then we did.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So then you fucking Nidhogg adventure together, you know? Shit is hard because you can't.
Any one hit kill thing has a tendency.
You have to be perfect, and it has one of the most unbalanced, insane climbs from level 1 to level 2 I think I've ever seen. Where like level 1, you get through like 4 areas that are like, here's 5 enemies, here's 6, here's 3 and 2 tough ones, and then area 2 is kill 18 enemies of all varieties, and if you fuck up once, you're done. Go. Also, it gets progressively darker, and you can't see shit. It was insane. It was just an insane.
That sounds like a goddamn Super Nintendo game.
But that aside, it was fun, and you know, playing co-op was cool, and multiplayer is cool too. So yeah, there deserves some spotlight on that. So we're gonna do a little bit of that on the channel as well. First Cut Samurai Duel, and then I've been curious about, I mentioned it, but Metal Slug Tactics they had a demo that released, so the full game not out yet, but at least the first area just to play it and see what's going on was put out there. So I checked it out to see what's happening. One, Metal Slug, known for its glorious, awesome sprite work, that is fully on display here, except now it's isometric tactic view. Works great, looks beautiful, all of that is awesome. And going into this as a tactics game, I'm like, okay, so is it gonna just be, you know, pretty much just replace like FF Tactics style gameplay, or
if it did, that game of the year?
Are we gonna go for, I mean, Tactics is also beloved for its story and stuff too, though, right? Like yeah. Or you know, are we into the breaching? What are we doing here? And it's not perfect information, it's not a puzzle game, you know. It is a game where the enemy is going to behave in certain ways based on its type, but you can't quite predict what those are going to be. And immediately, what I will say is that, like, okay, it's a bit overwhelming at first to kind of it's okay. At first, it feels really vanilla with its approach, and then it introduces some mechanics that are like you build up defense by clicking on by moving certain spaces, by moving into cover and stuff, and it's not immediately clear what these mechanics are trying to like elicit until you get through you get to like a so you play you learn about those things, you play the tutorial, and what's cool is like the map will wherever you start on the map will eventually drop off, and then the whole thing will move forward, right? So there's a kind of like progressing along this line that you need to do. um, you get into a mission, and you pick all your the all the metal slugs. You got Eri and Theo and Marco, and Tarma you got to unlock, but he's there. And uh, as they're moving through these things, you're seeing a bunch of grunts that you're like, this is insane. There are way too many enemies. How the fuck
Mhm.
am I supposed to, and I got just destroyed right off the bat, right? And then I'm like, okay, hold on, let me try again. Let me see what's going on here. And you play a little bit more, and you kind of realize this is a tactics game. However, it is still metal slugging. And what that means is, yeah, there are too many enemies. Make it to the high priority targets, avoid what you can't handle. Also,
Mhm.
the level will sometimes be progressing. You have to move. Also, there will be things like a giant tank or a or a giant like yeah, an enemy slug, an enemy tower, a boss
Mhm.
that will target your units for unavoidable damage. When this turn comes, no matter where you move, even if you're in cover, you're going to take like 4 points of damage or more, right? The
Mhm.
only way to avoid it or to handle it is to build up speed and dodge by moving your character far along the map. And the further you move from your origin point, the more you can take of unavoidable damage because you're
So you just
fast.
want to be moving your units as far and as often as possible.
Never stop moving, hit cover points for extra armor, and then shoot and take out the targets you can. And that's fucking Metal Slug, right?
Mm.
Never stop shooting, run and gun, never stop moving. If you're playing a tactics game where you stand on a square and take out an enemy and then position 2 squares away from that to take out another, that's you're doing it wrong,
Yeah,
right?
the usual way that a lot of these tactics games is that you want to move as little as you can. You want to go one square past where an enemy can attack you.
And so as you're doing this massive movement required setup, your characters also have a really rewarding system of synergy and syncing attacks. So if I shoot you and my other unit is in line of fire with you, they shoot too, right? So you just double up your damage or triple up your damage, and there's unique buffs on each character that will be like every time Eri does a sync attack, she gets her movement back, so she can shoot and then move again, or Marco will be able to shoot again, you know? And so you start playing this game of like, oh, I can always have armor, I can always sync up. And like when I'm playing efficiently, it's just a squad of Metal Slug soldiers moving across the screen together, covering each other's backs, shooting and providing assistance, picking targets and taking them out, and like moving as a unit as the screen behind you drops out and the new part of the area drops in. So that's a really awesome interpretation of Metal Slug gameplay in a tactical turn-based environment. So
That sounds really cool.
very fun, very fun.
So
And
this is the demo, right? This
this
is
is
not
the
the full
this is the
release.
demo, yeah. And again, and it's not immediately obvious right away, but once you pick up what they're going for, it makes a lot of sense and it's very fun. So, and thankfully, again, this has nothing to do with any of the online or mobile gacha stuff that I'm not gonna say gacha of the auto battler, the version of the game they released before. It was just this was announced years ago, and finally we're getting the demo available after a long time. So. Um, I played more after the stream too, and got to see some of that. There's a boss fight that involves a giant boat that shoots like a million guns all over the map, and like you're on
Mhm.
the water, and there's a couple of floating barges that are going to sink in 2 turns. Keep running in a circle around this boat as it keeps shooting everything indiscriminately, you know.
Huh.
and take pot shots while you build up momentum and armor. Right, real fun there.
That seems really cool.
Yeah. And so yeah, those are the games, and then so I guess just quickly beyond that, UMAD was this weekend. The church venue that I talked about last year continues to be the sickest fighting game venue I've ever been to. It is just a awesome lit like giant pew area for you got your casuals and your tournament setups running. The main stage is where the priest or the preacher would be speaking from the pulpit, and then upstairs we've got arcade machines that were brought in on one side, some Third Strike and CVS2, and then on the other side some board games, playing Crokinole, that little old man game I was describing. Samurai Showdown was there. I got fourth. I could still fucking play Sam Show. And then
there were more than 4 people in those tournaments, right?
There were more than 4 people in the bracket. Yes.
Okay. It's Sam's show.
Gotta call it out. Gotta call it out. You're not wrong. And then at the back of the upstairs area is where the bar is, and just all the drinks are there, and you just go up, drink, chill, watch the tournament, have a good time. And then of course in the basement, the boxing gym. So incredible. My favorite venue. Super cool for that. And I wasn't able to be there on Saturday. Sir Meow Music had a little wedding reception going on. I was able to chill with one Foxcade, and Leon Massey came to town, and that's a lad right there.
Both good video people.
Indeed, and Foxcade I've been working with quite a bit recently, and and Leon himself, who's made some great fighting game video essays.
He has the best fighting game video on jump arcs, which you would think would be a really boring topic, but he makes it really fun.
Yeah. Stand up gent, as they say. Good hangs, good times, etc. Just got a good chance to hang out at this particular awesome tournament setting as well, and good people that are from the other side of the pond. We eventually did start discussing things like mushy peas and the nature of footy. So it was a good hang.
England.
Yeah, it was also particularly fun to in this wedding out in the Quebec boonies at one point, having the DJ play Not Like Us. And me, Reggie, and one other individual just being there, just being like, yo, let's go, getting into it, etc. And then as of course, as you hit your he a fan, and I'm like, freaky ass what? Huh? To the whole reception, huh? Anybody? No one? What's going on? Yeah.
I don't think it can be overstated just how one-sided the overall takeaway from that beef was. I was watching teachers go on TikTok and go teachers in Ontario go our whole school just inverted from a Drake school to a Lamar school overnight. Just immediately.
There is a clip of I think it's a grade 7 or 8 dance where a bunch of kids are just singing word for word the entire thing. And
the whole song?
Just dancing and singing the whole thing word for word. And it was just, this was going around on Black Twitter, and just the post just being yeah, the kids are going to be okay.
Okay, I got to stop you for a second. Why is it that every time I use Kendrick Lamar's last name, everybody laughs at me?
Because nobody calls him.
Is that not his last name?
No one calls him that. It's a really weird way to say it. That's if you're trying to, that's abbreviating Marvel versus Capcom, Mar v Cap. That's a deep cut for anybody that might remember. It is indicative of the fact that you might not necessarily be aware of how people are referring to Kendrick, aka K.
Well, that's the thing. I
Kung
feel
Fu
like
Kenny.
calling them by their first name exclusively is so weird.
But
I don't know Kendrick Lamar.
no, but like
I
when
don't refer to Eminem as Marshall.
no, but like when these are performers that have like stage names and acronyms and tags that they go by, he's got many. Again, he's got Kendrick Lamar, K. Kung Fu Kenny. He's got a lot of things. No one calls him Lamar. It's just, like if I were to be like, oh yeah, that's my favorite game, Third S or Third Stir, you'd be like, who? What? Anyway, there's these moments of like I don't know what but yeah, it's different. To go a million years ago in that fucking first Izuna Drops video from a million miles back. When going through like each game description or so at one point, Matt wrote Mar v Cap. And I was like, who the fuck writes Mar v Cap?
Why not just abbreviate the whole thing?
It's MVC. Like, what? No one does. Yeah, anyway. So you just, it's that. No one says Lamar. That's all. That's the only reason why that comes out.
Okay.
All right.
Try not to.
I mean, you don't have to. It's not like it's not like you're going to be able to jump in on the, like, your favorite track of Mr. Morale. It's okay, but that's why I'm just
what was it called? Butterfly something.
To Pimp a Butterfly.
The album you recommended.
To Pimp a Butterfly.
I started to listen to it, and I was totally bored because it didn't have the hate in it.
Gotcha. Okay.
I needed.
Fair enough.
Yeah, they were fine, I guess, but I didn't feel they didn't reach me because they weren't about hatred.
It's at the end of the day, it's going to be music that you're listening to, so no promises that you're going to land in anything that is particular to emulate the beef and the nature of what you encountered here. This is a moment in time, but that's okay. But what is funny too as well is that this week Kendrick actually announced too that he's going to have a concert. And like the line where Drake is like, "Oh, you rap like you're trying to free the slaves," right? Kendrick not only he comes back on that line and Not Like Us, but then also his concert's going to be this week on Juneteenth. It's like, yeah, actually though.
I saw a lot of folks take issue with that line as to like, what's wrong with freeing the slaves, Drake? Which was like, that's really that's a really horribly unkind way to take that, but also, yeah, it's a super weird thing to say.
So the problem is that it's not weird when you live in a world where you're like, yo, club bangers, selling out hits, and ruling the charts is what matters to me. It's in a world of surface, and I, for a long time, have been like, I like conscious hip hop is what the term was used, and that people kind of make fun of it and stuff because like when you're getting too lyrical, when you're getting too heady, when you're getting too like we can't dance to that shit. Make something that we can dance to. If the meaning is all you're going for, then fuck that, right? There's Lupe Fiasco has a track called Dumb It Down, and it's literally all about like, we can't understand what you're saying, Lou, dumb it down. People are fucking. We're trying to dance. We're trying to get our get our club
you're
on.
Not playing fucking spoken word prose poetry at the club for a reason.
Yeah. So right, and funny enough, like the first two verses of that are people going like, "Nigga, what the fuck you talking about? We just trying to get our dance on. Dumb it down." Right. We can't get into this. And then the last verse is the record execs running the company, the white guy that's like, "Hey man, yo, you need to stop talking what you're talking. You need to stop speaking too much truth, dude. Dumb it down. Stop saying that shit. Stop putting people on game. People are learning too much. Shut the fuck up. Keep it dumb." Anyways, so I'm like, it's not to get pretentious or whatever, but I'm just like, the type of shit I enjoy is the shit that has like that fucking juice to it, right? So Drake comes from a world where fuck all that. It's all about the number one hit of the week and such. So the idea of like, man, I don't want to hear about your fucking, I don't want to hear about King Kunta. I don't want to hear about slavery. I don't want to hear about any of that shit. Like, you try to free the slaves, Kendrick. Oh, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to hold black people on your back. And it's coming from that energy of just like, man, what the fuck? Be shallow. flow, make music that make club bangers, make shit that people can dance to. And funny enough, having the conversation with like my cousin and some other people about how this beef shook out, people that are way more in the just like, yeah, we just kind of want to keep it dancey and surface level and all that shit. There's like, to me, I'm like, Meet the Grams is where already that shit was done and done. But there's a tier you hit of like, oh, it wasn't until Not Like Us was fun to dance to that he won.
Yeah, because Meet the Grams is miserable. It's like it's horrible. To listen to.
But the bullet was still fired and hit its mark. You know what I mean?
But Not Like Us is great. You listen. Who cares about the lyrics even? It's just catchy.
And that's the part where but that's the energy Drake is coming with, is like, we want the catchy, never mind what you're saying, never mind the meaning, who cares? Why can't you do some shit that we want to dance to, right? And then he made that, and he wins he wins on both sides because it is catchy and it's still fucking hitting its mark.
I feel like that's a really strange thing to say as like a colleague in the same field. Like as a consumer or like a aficionado or somebody who likes music or whatever, that's one thing. Like, I really don't care for this hoity-toity.
Y'all don't want to hear me. You just want to dance. My baby don't mess around because
from like your colleague being like, why do you have to put meaning into your shit? It's such a weird fucking sentiment.
And the insanity that is taking that sentiment at the dude who has the most meaning. He's all about that. It's nonstop from top to bottom. Super fucking, cerebral is what they say. Shit, man. Yeah, it's just you picked the wrong target. And furthermore, god damn it, okay, for like when you have J. Cole in there standing opposite you in fucking first person shooter, you're doing the whole bit of like, I'm the king of sales and the club, you're the king of lyrics and being deep, and we're like the same thing but on opposite ends. And it's just like, so Drake is like comparing himself to Michael Jackson because he has more number ones or whatever. And it's like, you're celebrating being king of the kiddie pool. You're celebrating being an ocean wide, ankle deep puddle of water, and then you picked a fucking well to the center of the earth to fight against, essentially. It's insanity, man. Anyway, whatever. I don't even know how we got sidetracked onto that. But oh yeah, because Not Like Us was being played at the wedding. There we go. Anyway, it was fun. So yeah, that was real dope. And yeah, it was a little. I'm gonna be doing this week. Looks like some Wednesday Yakuza. I think depending on time zones, if it lines up, Friday Elden Ring is out, right? So
Elden Ring's out this week on Thursday.
Is it Thursday? Okay, great. So then, yeah, that lines up for Friday perfectly then. So yeah, do some.
It comes out early on PC.
Okay. So perhaps not for PS5 where my saves and stuff are located.
Oh, on PS5 it'll be coming out midnight your time.
Okay, yeah. So
on Thursday.
I'm playing on console. Yeah, so we're gonna treat it up, and then some Get to Fighting games on Saturday. We'll figure that out a little later. So yeah, tune in. Wooly Versus on YouTube and on Twitch. Last little bit, I talked about going to Greece soon. That's going to be in about 2 weeks time. I was trying to figure out a place to meet up with people and do stuff. Still ironing out some details, but if you are in Athens, it's looking like I'm going to head over to this. Literally the day I land, there is a Tekken World Tour Dojo event happening at.
Oh well, there you go.
At the Hype Festival in Greece. So yeah, some folks from that scene reached out, and it looks like I'll be able to go check out the Greek FGC, and if people are around too as well, I can probably meet some folks either outside the front or inside, because I think there's a ticket cost, and I don't want to have to tell everybody, hey, you must buy a ticket or so either way, I'll probably be there on the 30th. More details on my Twitter, and I'll mention this again next week's podcast as well. What's up?
All right. Well, I gotta pee.
Yeah, let's. That was heavy.
What's up? I have to pee now.
All right, big peas. let's take a quick word from our sponsors.
I love you sponsors.
This week, the podcast is sponsored by Henson Shaving. That is the family-owned aerospace parts manufacturer that has made parts for the ISS, the International Space Station, and they're bringing that precision engineering to shaving.
Lord knows I could use a shave. Not this part though. This part has to stay so
Yes.
people don't realize what's under here. But I mean the neck part and the cheeks. And
Yes.
maybe the nose soon,
There's
actually.
there's a red zone of this. It crawls up on the nose is wild. That's crazy. Shaving your nose is, I can't believe that happens. But yeah, and if you're gonna be doing that, especially if you're trying to get rid of the little hair that hangs over the top of the lip that just feels terrible, and you're like, oh no, what am I doing? Like I hate that. You want to get your shaving under control, and you want to do it with folks who have the highest precision engineering. With folks that have made have manufactured parts for the Mars rover. I'm going to trust that. I'm going to trust that level of expertise and quality. So, with all that, razor blades are the type of thing that you want to have a very, very thin and precise blade to not nick your skin and not get a bunch of ugly bumps and not, deal with cuts and all that. All the garbage that happens with the dollar store cheap razors that you go buy, or worse, the ones that are locked behind a glass case behind a hallway that needs a swipe card to go get when you go to the pharmacy. That is ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
You don't need to put up with that. Using aerospace grade CNC machines, they got a blade extension that is 0.0013 inches, less than the human hair's thickness. So, you get a vibration-free and incredibly close shave. You can check them out. Say no to subscriptions, and yes, for a razor that'll last you a lifetime. You can check them out at hensonshaving.com/superbeast to pick the razor for you and use code SUPERBEAST, and you'll get 2 years worth of razor blades for free. Just make sure you add them to your cart. Once again, that's 100 blades when you head to hensonshaving.com/superbeast and use the code SUPERBEAST. Helped trim my face up. I appreciate it. Good stuff. Thank you, Henson Shaving.
Thanks, Henson Shaving.
And this week, a new sponsor. The show is brought to you by A Better Paradise.
Better Paradise?
A Better Paradise is a sci-fi thriller audio drama, and it's the first story in an expansive new universe from Absurd Ventures. So, this is a show that you can listen to that is created and written by Dan Houser, the co-founder of Rockstar Games, who was the creative director and lead writer on Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption.
This visual trailer is real trippy.
And Bully, as those games, among others. And it's also directed by Dan's longtime creative partner, Laszlo, which for me is particular. Which is funny because I'm like, I know that name. Like, hold on a minute. Is that
Laszlo in those games was always Laszlo? Who is Laszlo?
Right. And I remember Laszlo as like, I'm like, oh, he back in the Opie and Anthony days used to go in and like show up and talk about Rockstar Games there and like got them to voice characters in the game and stuff, and various comedians and people were able to like get cameos in Grand Theft Auto and stuff because of Laszlo. So like, oh yeah. So Laszlo's got a show here, got a podcast you can listen to that he's working on. That's something that I'm like, hey, that's a name I haven't heard in a bit. So they got an all-star cast including Andrew Lincoln of The Walking Dead, Shamir Anderson from John Wick 4 and Invasion, Paterson Joseph from Wonka, Rain Spencer from The Summer I Turned Pretty. you can go listen to A Better Paradise today and follow it on the platform of your choice to not miss an episode. Yeah, fun stuff from some Rockstar folks over there. There. Thank you, A Better Paradise.
Thanks, A Better Paradise.
All right. What's going on?
All right. Let's talk about FF7 Rebirth. Let's talk about pacing. That's all I want to talk about. So FF7 Rebirth has a wide variety of side contents, right? It has 6 or 7 zones. I forget how many, right? But it's like an open world zone, right? Outside of the boutique like story dungeons, right? So what do you got? You got specialty fights where you're going to try and stagger or pressure or do like a special little challenge that Chadley asks you to do. You've got find the hidden cave that lets you unlock the summon that Chadley lets you do. Then you have, oh God, climb the towers for Chadley. Then you have find the live stream caves for Chadley and do a little mini game. Then you have the cards. Then you have the actual VR battle missions and unlocking the summons for Chadley.
This is all throughout the course of the whole thing, right?
Yeah,
because
like each zone has these.
Okay,
right?
Because when last you
then
left
you have,
off,
then you have the proto relics, which is a long-running side quest chain where you're trying to find these magic relics for Chadley. And then you have like side quests that are like, I would like to see this bird before I die. Can you go get that bird? Whatever, right?
Yeah.
And they all line up on a completionist little map on your world map. So you'll get like, oh, you did 8 out of 20 of the things in Costa del Sol, right? Whatever, right? You're doing like 95% of all side content in FF7 Rebirth for Chadley.
What?
Like specifically for him.
So he was a weird inclusion in the original where I was like, what is with this weird kid? This lost sassy child. Actually not sassy. And then it's like, oh, okay, you kind of get the deal. You might not actually be a person. Okay. But is everything extra that has been fleshed out just heavy dumped onto this character? And
so not everything.
But is there enough going on with Chadley to support all the things you're describing? Because there wasn't a whole lot in the first.
There's one thing going on with Chadley where he made his own Chadley named Mai, who is like a really like energetic, happy version of Chadley. Like if she was she's a Japanese character, so I like if you know it, she's very Genki.
Okay. Yeah.
And he hates her.
Okay.
It's really fucking weird. Where she'll be like, "Great job, Cloud! You really got that monster," and he'll be like, "Shut up! Stop talking, woman!" And you're like, "What?
Jesus.
Why did you make her?" It's so weird. It's fucking so strange. There's also a little other mini games and whatnot put around, but basically, when you get to a new area, you're like, "There's 5 towers. There's 6 specialty battles. There's the summon caves. There's the live stream caves. There's using your chocobo to peck the dirt to find like item upgrades, etc." And then there's 3 to 5 side quests that run the gamut from pretty interesting to actively horrible. Like there's a side quest where you have to like drag a chicken towards a pen by dragging a fishing line with a box of chicken feed that's just fucking miserable.
Okay. Physics based?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And whatnot. And so like the side content's like, it's hit or miss. Like I really like the battle content, but I thought a lot of the other stuff was like pretty weak. But I filled all of it out. I did all of it, all the way to Nibelheim, which is near the end of the game.
Yeah.
I did all of it.
Okay, because like last you brought up how much of a slog Gungaga was going, and
Boy.
once you come out the end of that, do things
Okay,
kind
so
of
this is the fun part. Gungaga is like a slog to navigate, and then you get to Cosmo Canyon, which is a lot easier to navigate and has the worst side content of any location in the game.
oh no,
Like way worse. Way worse than the rest of the game's side content. Like notably much worse. And then you get to Nibelheim, and the Nibelheim big side quest is use your chocobo to find 50 pieces of floating fruit scattered around the environment, and they won't get marked on your map if you get them or not. And you have to get all 50 to get the good reward. It's like the side content starts to get actively worse.
and again,
as you go through the game.
and you didn't mind it in 1, right? Just to
No,
to
in 1
recap.
there was actually very little side content. Like a lot of it was like go to the wall market battle arena
Sector
and
8
stuff like
Sector 8 had a bunch of extra stuff, you know. Yeah, okay. all right.
So I did all of it until I did like the story events around Shinra Mansion, right? You know, and then some stuff unlocks after that. But I'm like, I know I gotta go to the Gold Saucer and do the date and go to the Temple of the Ancients, and then I'm done, right? I'm out. So you know what? I'm not gonna do the proto relic stuff in Nibelheim. I'm just gonna go straight to the end of the game, right? You get to the Gold Saucer, and Chadley calls you on the phone, and he says, "Hey, Pat, or Cloud, whatever. By the way, just to let you know, now that you're at the end of the game, we have like unlocked 10 new side quests in every zone for you to do." And I'm like, I don't want to. I just want to beat the game. Please. Can I please just beat the game?
Okay.
And then you do the Gold Saucer date, and then right before you're about to go to the end of the game, fucking another call from Chadley going, by the way, the last couple of ones unlocked. Just in case, just so you know, just so you know, there's a couple more. There's a couple more that you could do.
Okay, so you're just going to ignore all that and just go, right?
Yeah, it is the
like
so I love side content in games, and when I get to it, I do all of it and go on, and have never ever played a game in which I didn't want to do the side content and didn't just drop the game entirely.
I see.
But
Because
it's FF7 Rebirth, and I really want to know what's going to happen at the end of the game. So I just skipped all of it.
yeah, because I think and that's super valid and fine, and I see that as the reasonable thing to do here, because I feel like if I hit side content that I yawn at or that just feels like nothing, I mean, I'm going to like I'll handle if it's bad, but okay, but like anyway, there's a point you hit where you go, that was bad, that felt like a waste of time, I'm not doing any more of these. And 16 felt like a bunch of those where I was like, okay, you know what?
Yeah, it did.
Right? Which ones do I need to get which things here? Okay, I'll go do the manual required ones to unlock this specific thing or so. But anything that's not manual, that's not super required, fuck that. Completionist for what? This is boring. It's taking away my enjoyment of the game. So like
you get off the into Costa del Sol near the end, and there's a treasure chest that has the purple on it, which means it's a new weapon. And fucking Red starts telling me about One Piece. He essentially starts telling me about One Piece, and I'm like, I'm not going to do this quest, Red. I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it. And then I'm like driving north to get to the game's final dungeon, and on the way there's like purple chests in the water, and I'm like, what the fuck are these? Oh my god, was I supposed to drive around the ocean hitting random pieces of garbage to finish this side quest? Oh my god, I'm never gonna do it. The idea that I'm gonna come back after I beat the game and do this shit. No, I'm not going to do it.
This is reminding me, because I'm having a bit of a weird one with Yakuza, which is chock full of sub-stories. And so many of them are hilarious and fun and full of antics, but some of them are not.
Some of them are not.
And you never know,
You never know.
I don't think I've hit any that I've been like, this was garbage and a waste of my time. But I certainly do feel like, well, even if these are, a chuckle at best, or a chuckle at worst, excuse me, I still do want to get a move on just because this game is so long. So
Yeah.
I'm basically going to just have to be like, if this were up to me, it is up to me, but because this is, but because there is an audience involved in this as well, I'm just going to have to be like, all right, I'm getting a move on now, and I'm going to complete the major, cabaret and money, real estate things. But if people tell me that, hey, this is a really funny one, go do that Michael Jackson quest.
Yeah.
Then I'll go do that, right? But you can probably kind of just crowdsource the opinion on what a side quest worth doing might be, maybe, if you want to use that power to see, to just save yourself the anguish of scraping till your eyes bleed.
So, this has led to me going like, am I nuts? Am I like, I'm having like massive side content fatigue on this, like horrible, and I almost never do in almost anything. So I'm like, who would be a really good
I enjoyed
test?
Pocket Racer. I know they're saying no one told me to do it, but I enjoyed that goofy ass arc.
Yeah.
I went back to it because I wanted to. That was me. Anyway.
I would say, like, who would be a really good audience for me to ask this question to get like a reasonable response based on my tastes? Oh, I know. I have like 15 friends who play FF14 and are like grinding out bicolor gemstones right now in prep for Dawn Trail or whatever, like freaks, right? And most of them played FF7 Rebirth. What did they do when they got to that part? Oh, they also all skipped it.
Ah, okay.
And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Honestly,
all right.
So I feel like anything FF related, I could also just tap into Min. And I feel like even though our tastes diverge heavily from each other in a ton of ways, he can probably be like, there's nothing even remotely like FF lore related or any tags to anything interesting. Just throw it in the trash, as long as you don't feel any massive FOMO from it, which I certainly hope you don't.
I know. It's like one of the only things that I don't like. Usually that powers it.
When the freaks tap out, it's time to follow suit.
Yeah. So like and this has led to like a long back and forth that is like how you can't complain about optional content because it's optional. Which I don't personally agree with, because doing all the optional content in FF7 Rebirth massively fucks up the game's pacing. Like massively fucks it up.
I mean, okay, there's an argument that like any game with a significant amount of side quests will fuck up a game's pacing. There's also like, does something like the church in fucking Disco Elysium even count as a side quest? Like, it's so crucial. And
no, everything in Disco is side content. Whereas FF7 Rebirth has an incredibly strong dividing line between this is boutique, prestige shit, and this is optional.
For all the nothings that 16 does have, I do appreciate that they're like, here's a plus, which is a big star that is going to give you a big reward, and perhaps even have something that is an important moment for a character in case you care about that character. If you want to hang out with the Midadol, with Midolphus, then you can do some of those, but there's a different icon for like, this is really just for completion and this is actually worth your time.
Yeah, so like the specifics of it is like, I think Cosmo Canyon was the part where it broke, where the Cosmo Canyon side quests are all really bad. Like, I actively resented doing them after I had completed them. And the Proto Relic minigame in there is like a minigame that's like a tower, like reverse tower defense, and it's miserable. It's awful. It's terrible. And that was the moment like, wow, I spent like an entire evening like juggling a sleepy baby so that I could get all this shit ready for the stream tomorrow. And it sucked and I shouldn't have done it.
And I guess like any of the mini games, there's a full like progression path of unlocking stuff if you
Well, when you beat
hammer
them,
at
they're
it.
like, "Do you want to do hard mode?" And you're like, "No."
Yeah.
Oh my
Okay.
god,
Okay.
absolutely not.
Yeah. And I mean, I get the impression too that like even without all that stuff, the game still is pretty bloated, right? Like it like you're not the only one that's been just like, I can't believe how much is in this.
The game is like, I wonder what the game looks like if you just beeline it. Like I know I should talk to Gene about it because I know Gene just beelined it. He skipped like every single piece of side content.
When I get there, I'm going to beeline probably most. I'm going to really selectively hors d'oeuvre my side quests, I think.
Yeah, Gene beat it in 36. When I decided to give up on the side quests, I was at 84.
Okay.
So like, yeah, I don't know. If you're the kind of person who likes all that side content, good for you. I'm glad for you because the game is definitely not like, you definitely get your money's worth. I don't think it's of the quality. Like I think I think it is like filling up your plate with like like you know, you go to a nice restaurant and like you get a nice meal and you're like, oh, I could have had more, but it was great. And it's the same meal but with like 4 pounds of fries put onto the side.
Yeah.
And then you're like, you have some of the fries and you're just like, and somebody's response is like, well, you didn't have to eat those fries. I'm like, they put it on my plate.
The worst fucking trend that is now, this wasn't happening when I was younger, but now when you get souvlaki from a place and they put fries in the souvlaki to just stuff it out and make it more filling, fuck off with that. That's not what this is supposed to be. I hate that. Yes. I think my list is kind of like, okay, does this side quest have a really profound moment of characterization for someone on the main cast that is like that completes an aspect of them we didn't know otherwise?
Occasionally there is a little bit of like juice there.
Yeah. Is there a nice little like Citadel style moment with the character that you get?
Not like that.
No, that's the like one of the peak examples for sure. But ultimately, just like, you know, even in solving this problem for this random person, there's a moment with somebody that is like, oh, that's an interesting facet of your character that shows us something about you.
Yeah,
right?
No, they definitely do that. The most interesting thing in the game by far, is red side quests, but you can only appreciate that if you play the game twice.
Okay.
Whereas if you leave all of red side quests until after Cosmo Canyon, he has completely different dialogue during all of them.
Okay. Yeah, and then I'd say second is, does this side quest, if not the character, do something for the world or the backstory or the lore or the setting, you know? Or like FF16 has that one where you go to the barren continent and you go to that old orphanage graveyard and just learn about like more about like the whole bearer curse thing, and you're like, oh wow, this is not a character thing, this is just a lore setting thing that is also super interesting and worth doing.
There are a couple. I would say it's a coin flip.
Yeah. So those are the ones that I pretty much, you know, we're down for. And again, shout out, like, huge thanks, because yeah, Solidus grabbed a list of like, here's what's worth doing, fuck the rest. I'm like, okay, sounds good. You know. Yeah, I just want stuff that helps appreciate the world more, but I don't want that at the cost of an extra 50 hours. That's not milking me.
So people are in the chat were saying that Max did beat it at 120 and still had shit that was on the table that he hadn't finished.
Okay.
I think at best the side content in this game is like a 7, and I think like 75% of the game being that is weird.
I can imagine, like, because I kind of had in my head with Remake 1, there's a little meter, right? And it's like, I'm playing fucking Final Fantasy Remake 7 Remake right now. That's a little meter that's like, whoa! And then when that starts to dip, if it goes a little too low, fuck what you're doing, get back to the main. Yo, I'm playing fucking, you know, you can't, if you get too far in the weeds, if you're like, I don't recognize who's here and what's going on, Chadley's making what happened with what, abort, swerve, get back on the main, get off the exit, get back on the highway. Holy fuck, this is Final Fantasy VII Remake. This is crazy. I can't believe this is actually happening. You know, just like, it's dumb, but I kind of am like, you could use that little thing internally to enjoy, you know?
Yeah, so the remake content was actually worse. Like the side shit was worse, but there was like way less of it. Like way less. There were like 2 chapters that you would like run around and do side quests.
Yeah, I mean, there was a little stuff that I was kind of bored a little with, like Aerith's orphanage adventures, but it wasn't too bad. It was just like, okay, well, she's
it was they were like objectively worse, but they were like better paced.
Sure, yeah, but okay, this is a recurring problem though.
I am not the only person who feels this way, and it is increasingly frustrating that whenever I talk about like, man, I really think doing all the side stuff brings down the pacing, the response of like, well, why'd you do it then? Like, I didn't think it was gonna do that. How was I gonna know that ahead of time?
Or sometimes there's also, I guess, a side quest where the whole point of it is like, do you want to go fight a hell house? Do you want to see what that looks like?
That was mandatory.
Okay, well, yeah, okay, not maybe more like a bomb or whatever type of enemy that you want to see. Like, oh, do you want to see the version of that in this setting or so? You know, that might be the whole point, where the quest itself doesn't matter as much as the like, oh, you can go fight a cool thing. But yeah, okay, fair enough.
So yeah, maybe don't focus so much. Like in hindsight, I really wish I had only done the side content enough to unlock the summons and get the gold saucer date I wanted, rather than literally all of them. But what are you gonna do?
Have the game creators make a list and tell you, hey, don't worry, these ones suck.
So like this is the part that it gets like really like, well, what I want is the ones that I feel like I wasted my time on to be removed, so I didn't do them and I could go back in time and have, and it's like now we're in just nonsense land. Like one of the things that I actually really liked about FF16 is the quests that had blue plus signs on them to indicate that no, these are the real side quests that unlock gameplay shit.
That's what I was talking about. That's what I was saying.
Because they took that from 14, and it doesn't work that way in 7 Rebirth. In fact, it works in a way that it seems like they want you to be able to do as much or as little or as what types as you want, because every time you do it, you get points to cash in at Chadley for like special materia that's insanely broken, like super busted super materia.
Okay.
And by doing all of them, you have all the stuff to get all of them.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm gonna suffer through some bland, stupid shit if I can check out Knights of the Round at the end of that, you know.
I don't think they're in this game.
Okay.
I think they'll be in the next one.
Fuck.
But yeah, no, it's one of those things like going back, like I wish I had done less.
I get you.
Which is like a very strange thing for me to specifically say.
And you said you're almost there.
I am sitting in the final dungeon right now.
Okay.
As opposed to that, I mean, we talked about SMT Vengeance, and
oh, that music, man. Going back to that SMT5 music. God, it's so good.
It's so grimy. I love it.
And the new tracks as well. Just fucking love that soundtrack. Yep.
Oh, I saw someone in the chat say you could have bailed on Dragon's Dogma 2. It's like, one, I did. I stopped playing that game. And two, that wouldn't have made any difference.
Someone at Combo Breaker accused me of having a pawn that was infecting everybody, So I booted up to make sure that that was not the case, and sure enough, it wasn't. So I will not accept these lies and slander. I did not have to throw Wooly in the water. I am not infecting anybody.
I mean, somebody might have wanted to.
But either way, if it happened, it would have come back to my world, and I sat down and did the refresh, and he was fine. So, no.
What else? You know what? Let's go for a baby update. Baby's crawling around on the floor. Baby needs to escape from his pen. He's only happy on the floor where he can get into trouble.
Freedom.
Which means we're now encountering dog plus baby no longer being held and like, oh man, nice, but just encountering each other in the wild, as it were. And that dog is great with that baby. He does the same thing every time. He walks up to the baby goes goo goo gaga. The dog smells him, then he licks his face 2 or 3 times, and then he leaves. And that's it. And the baby occasionally punches the dog in the jowls or claws at his eyes because he's a dumb baby, doesn't know nothing. And the dog just goes, I can't even feel that shit.
Oh, just takes it. Okay, great.
I mean, you've seen bulldogs' whole head is based around like getting kicked by bulls. So like a 10-month-old baby just going goo goo gaga with the squishing isn't going to do nothing.
But an eyeball poke might upset anybody. Right?
So you would think, but like the cat slashes the dog in the eyeballs all the time with his claws.
Jesus fucking Christ.
No, you don't. No, Wooly, you don't understand. There's nothing that anyone in the house could do to harm the dog other than like hit him with a baseball bat. Like, they are bulldogs. They are built to get kicked by bulls. When the cat gets annoyed and slashes the dog in the face, the dog just stands there and licks the cat.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it. That sounds nuts, man. Jesus. Okay.
But it also makes their faces all squishy and kissable.
Baby yearns to escape the walls on the wings of freedom.
Yeah, he wants to crawl around on the floor. Like we have a big playpen where he can exist in a safe padded environment, and he hates that shit now. He wants out and about. He wants to chase us around.
Baby needs to see the ocean.
Yeah, a little bit.
The enemies are over there.
But yeah, no, bulldogs are great with kids because they're slow, they're sweet, and they're durable.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm I'm imagining like a fucking bug-eyed chihuahua getting poked in the eye, and that thing just doing backflips.
Chihuahuas are horrible for children.
Exactly, they're insane.
Horrible.
And just that
They'll
level
bite
of
kids for fun.
Yeah.
But no, I saw somebody say like, oh, I bet what he means is when Elmo the cat paws Zangief. No. I have a cat that is turning 16 years old. That cat gets annoyed because he's tired. The dog comes over and stands and breathes on him, and the cat goes and bites him and slashes at his face, and the dog goes.
I would be nervous every time.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Eyeball pokes, man. That's a weak spot.
Cat can't do nothing to that dog. Can't do nothing.
Yeah.
And also, the dog actually represents a really good thing. Where if the baby does poke him or do something like he's not supposed to do, you take the baby's hand and you go no, and you have him pet the doggy.
Yeah.
There you go. Gentle hands and all that shit.
That's actually a really good lesson. Yeah, for
right.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot easier to do it with a dog that can't be harmed.
on a training dog. Yes.
Well, because when I was a baby. You know what? We had a dog, and that dog was fucking 11 years old, and it was a gray little piece of shit that didn't like me. And so, like, if I bugged the dog, and it was like, ha ha, goo goo gaga, as like a 2-year-old or something, and the dog would nip my hand, I go, he's like, well, you shouldn't have bothered the dog.
Set Geef.
That dog's old.
Set Geef to health refills, full meter, and counter hit always. Yeah. Block after first hit. Perfect.
So what's going on with me this week? Tomorrow, I'm going to be doing the Nintendo Direct in the morning, in the AM at the 7 a.m. Pacific time. And then I'm not going to do 2 streams, so fuck it. We'll just roll right into FF7 Rebirth right after that. So I hope you people in Europe are happy. You're never happy because you live in Europe. And then on Wednesday, I have 2 sponsored streams of a cool little game called Blood and another cool little game called Sandwalkers. And then on Thursday, it's Elden Ring. But more importantly than that, tonight, that'd be Monday, June 17th at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, Paige is going to be hopping on her show over at twitch.tv/peachsaliva. Not 100% sure what that show's going to be, but it's not going to be the Jork Report. She has too much reporting to do to have that ready for tonight. She'll probably update you on the status of the Jork Report.
Unjorked, confirmed. Unpork your Jork.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
There's so much Jork documentation in the house. It's crazy.
Okay. Let's get into it. Hey, so yeah, breaking news. The U.S. government is suing Adobe.
Oh, is it because they're a bunch of criminal hack fucks?
It might be. It's accusing the company of harming consumers by enrolling them in the most expensive subscription plans ever without clearly disclosing the huge early termination fees. The fees can reach hundreds of dollars. Someone needs to fucking sit these assholes down and put a real uncomfortable light in their face and just fucking leave it there for a while.
So, I think
it's crazy.
So I don't know. So I know a lot about how Adobe is telling you that they own all of your content if you use Adobe. That's in their new.
Yeah. So there was that, and then there was the actually we're just doing this because it's not about that. It's about something else. I forgot what the update was.
It's about stealing your shit so that we can train our AI model on it.
They said that they when they did the update to the update and then the clarification to the clarification, the final reasons were something that was security related ish or whatever, and not about training.
That's bullshit.
You know, yada.
That's nonsense. They want to steal your shit so they can AI it.
They rolled out the you basically have to subscribe to us. You can't really buy the main thing anymore at all. Plan it at some point. For me, I was using the shittier, but you can still buy it elements versions of software, and I still more or less just do because even though it's crippled horrendously feature wise, it has enough of the basics for what I need. And is effectively almost like a student version of a program. But yeah, they've been fucking people over with these subscription things for years. And the idea that we can the pot the frog in the pot is already a green bubble goop, and we're still increasing the number. We're seeing if we can get it over to 17, 18 on the stove.
So I wasn't super familiar with the subscription shenanigans other than the fact that it's hard to cancel an Adobe subscription. What I was not aware of, and what I saw on the comments to the tweet of the breaking news about the lawsuit of the U.S. versus Adobe, was how bad it is to try and cancel your Adobe subscription. And I saw 5 comments in a row of people going yeah, I was never able to cancel it, so I just canceled my credit card.
Right.
That's the only way I could figure out how to cancel my Adobe subscription.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
The lawsuit alleges that Adobe hides the terms of its annual paid monthly plans in fine print behind optional text boxes and hyperlinks. Sounds like some dark patterns are afoot.
Sure does.
And there's always it's just there's always been that thing of hey, you can go grab the GIMP, you can go grab free alternative software and use that for all your needs. And
I mean, you can grab free alternative Adobe if you want to be cheeky about it.
So the thing is, I've used the GIMP back when I was in college, and I've used it in other circumstances, and it's always been there's things about this layout that I just hate. But it's kind of at this level, you are already ripping people off with the subscription. You are now taking it beyond the pale with like they can't even turn it off, they can't leave, they can't get away from your stupid shit.
Charging you a cancellation fee like you're a fucking phone contract or car finance.
Yeah, I like of all these like I've never there's Adobe deserves the amount of high seas activities the most of like any of these fucking new recent gas updates to these to software that people use. And I mean the fact that hey, I remember for the longest while, even back 20 years ago, it was like, hey, there's all these new CS versions, but the teacher that was teaching our graphic design class was just like, yeah, but then you can just stick with 7. You're fine. Unless you really need the healing brush, you're good. You know, and that kind of continues to be the case of like there's all these bullshit new features, but none of them matter, no one cares, and like you're not using the fucking the AI healing tools or whatever the fuck they're implementing there. You don't need any of that shit anyways. The older versions that can be acquired are more than enough for your purposes, so fuck the new version anyway. Premieres and the video editing software things get a little more complicated. But yeah, either way, we'll see what happens here. But the fucking government and the FTC have taken notice and are like,
well, I stop that. That's stupid.
Don't do it. Yeah. So, in particular, action against 2 executives is being taken for pushing people onto subscriptions, making it absurdly hard to cancel. They ambushed users with hefty early termination fees and threw up obstacles every time you tried to cancel.
Hey man, whatever. If Adobe says you don't own their software, then you can't steal it.
The idea of just punishing the people that are actually customers of you, that the people that actually are trying to be customers, is just, it's so.
Oh, I mean that's the old-fashioned thing. That's been media forever. Like, hey, go to the movies and watch like a fucking video about how bad it is to pirate movies. I'm in the theater. Why are you showing it to me in the movie theater? I'm obviously paying to see the fucking movie. Who is this fucking for? What, the person who starts watching the movie and is gonna walk out, go home and pirate and say, oh yeah, you know what, that was good. I'm gonna pay $10 to see the movie. What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, and like on some level, there's these things of like, okay, so maybe there is a cancel button that's hidden underneath a drop down to a hyperlink that opens up a second window, and when you click, are you sure you want not cancel? Yes, no. No, yes, no, right? And like, there's all kinds of shenanigans like that or whatever, the dark patterns. But for all of those, there's also just the straight up simple. If you call the customer service line and ask them to just cancel your subscription by talking to a human being on the phone, they would just drop the calls and or disconnect them. Like, just the old fashioned, huh? Oh, I can't hear you. I'm breaking up. Going through a tunnel right now. Like, straight up.
I've had that happen. I've had that happen with Bell tech support also.
Old fashioned hang up, you know?
Oh, hey, I wanna hold up my hand for a second. I saw a really good statement of like, hey Pat, the don't pirate movies thing is for the people who snuck into Inglourious Bastards, which I said that I did earlier. But here's the thing. I bought snacks at that theater. If I had gone home and pirated it, they wouldn't have gotten even snack money.
Oh boy. Oh boy, here we go. Yeah, okay, all right.
The snacks are fucking $45 for a bag of popcorn. This thing better suck my dick for me.
Cinema Guzzo got that popcorn money. That wasn't necessarily Miramax. Yeah. Get into this world. Anyways, Adobe needs to be fucking crowbarred up a little bit. Let's see what happens here. Anyway, beyond that,
boo Adobe, boo.
Miyazaki knows for a fact that other FromSoftware devs want a Bloodborne PC port. If I say I want one, I'll get in trouble, but it's nothing I'm opposed to. Obviously, as one of the creators of Bloodborne, my personal honest opinion is I'd love more players to be able to enjoy it, especially as a game that is now coming of age. of one of those games of the past that gets lost on older hardware. I think any game like that, it'd be nice to have an opportunity for more players to be able to experience that and relive the relic of the past. So as far as I'm concerned, that's not something I'm opposed to.
I think Sony lost it. I think Sony lost Bloodborne when they shut down Japan Studio.
Oh, not lost their minds. You mean we're talking like SNK level, lost the Gold Master?
I'm starting to believe they literally physically lost Bloodborne.
We lost the Gold Master. The pre-mastering department lost the entire spool and all the hard drives with all the data and every server that had it hosted. All of it gone.
No, not retail or not digital copies. I mean the source. I mean the documentation, the dev resources, the things they would need to port it somewhere.
Well, good thing that Bluepoint doesn't need that. They'll just do it on observation.
Yeah, but you have to pay Bluepoint money.
You do. Money does in fact need to exchange hands for this.
Yeah, we're running into this part of video games in which companies are going, wait, I have to pay them money to make it, and to fire them.
See, like, as the hilarious world of they lost the code is a chortle and a half, but the very simple Helldivers recent activity, Sony, is quite just weirdly confused and aggressive about PC in general. And everything we saw as a recent concession towards PC in recent years shows that not everybody there is on the same page. Right?
Oh, but here's the thing. This isn't just about a PC release. This is about literally anything.
Of any kind whatsoever on a modern console.
Like the same company that has 6 Last of Us games, even though there's only 2, because they remade each of them once over, and then they remade one of them twice.
If you
won't patch Bloodborne,
if they patched it to load better and to work better on current consoles, it might get people's hopes up, and we don't.
Like Horizon's getting a remaster, for fuck's sake. Like,
don't let the hopes get up.
No, but really, like Sony just keeps remastering all of their games on every console, except for Bloodborne.
Yeah.
To the point where I'm like, I think they lost it. I think they pulled a Konami and fucking accidentally threw it in the trash.
So it took enough years that eventually Miyazaki is like, "Hey guys, yeah, I know, I'm not insane. I would love that too, obviously.
Please point your annoyance elsewhere."
It'd be what it be. Well, hey, Nightmare Cart available now. Gianni and Susie are in
that has nothing to do with Bloodborne.
It's a whole lot of fun.
I don't know why you even bring that up.
It's a whole lot of fun. Go check it out. Guilty Gear Strive Dual Rulers, an anime adaptation, has been announced.
Is this about cards?
It sounds like this would be a DS game back in the day. This sounds like a Dust Strikers / Judgment ass spin-off thing. No idea, but it's a Strive anime. There's going to be more details in a trailer at Anime Expo 2024. Right now, there's just a single piece of artwork that shows Sin. It shows Soul, bad guy, and he's got the short hair, but he's in the Soul outfit. And if you've seen the story mode, you know that doesn't make a ton of sense because those two things are mutually exclusive. So
don't worry, this anime will be erased from canon at the end of its 22nd episode.
Most certainly. For all we know, anything's possible in the backyard. And speaking of the backyard, there is... Oh, here we go. Headphones are off. That's okay. Pat's not listening, but I'll talk about it because there is a cat boy on display in this poster that has big old backyard ears, and, This
sucks! I can still hear you.
With the headphones off.
I can still clearly hear you over the ambient headphone noise.
So, cat boy that man was erased from existence to give us the flower face we got, but a new cat boy arises with some googles on, right? So we'll see what those are about. but maybe this is just an updated super future Google version with fuck shit. The MOBA, the dude from Judgment.
Can't even.
Oh fuck, what was his name?
Aren't you supposed to be the guilty?
I was about to say
master?
Asuka, but it was on the tip of my tongue, and my brain just farted. There's a cat boy in Izuna. Izuna is a cat boy in Guilty Gear Judgment that is playable and part of the story there, and hasn't been seen since that spin-off game. You know, Dr. Paradigm did show back up at the end, but we never got more Izuna. So maybe this is Strive's version of Izuna. Or maybe it's just a brand new Catboy. Who knows? We'll see. Fox, not a cat? Well, either way, we got ourselves a little backyard furry waiting for us. So we might be returning to our roots. Oh, the damage on that was pretty. That's choice.
That was an awful series of words.
A backyard furry awaits you on the other side.
Oh God.
Oh shit. Yeah. Anyway, we'll see what's going on. I don't know, but at the very least, like I said, Fred's got the wrong hair for the wrong costume, so we'll see. It might not just be like a retelling. It might just be a sequel or some other story from afterwards, because they left things conclusive in some places and open in others, for anyone who went through the story mode. Then we got okay, so I mean, I appreciate from time to time when we get these looks into what's happening in competitive scenes from all over, and we talked about Yu-Gi-Oh and those bits the other day. That was the fun stuff. And our update this week. This can't be real, bro. What the hell is happening in the Pokemon TCG scene? From Delty the 73rd on Twitter.
Man, there were two of these, and I didn't know which one you were going to talk about.
Someone at this cup just ate their opponent's lost vacuum and called a judge for a deck check. Someone please explain to someone who doesn't play. In Pokemon the card game, there's local tournaments known as League Cups that earn you points to qualify for the World Championships. So they're held to a higher standard than normal local play. One of these standards is having a deck list submitted before the tournament. If you have an invalid deck list, the wrong cards, missing cards, etc., you get a penalty. It's like a game loss. This individual ate one of his opponent's cards to make their deck not match the deck list submission, and then called for a judge to check it so that it looks wrong, missing one card, and they get a game loss. That's where we're at now.
That's so
straight. Just cue the gif of the arcade walking up, grabbing the chip, and then running away.
Yeah, so somebody in the chat just asked a great question. How fast did he eat this card that no one but his opponent saw this happen?
I mean, have you seen Magicians?
Cardboard. You can't just...
Oh, have you seen Magicians? It's incredible. You can practice that shit at home and get right through. 2 bites straight at, because cardboard a little harder than paper, right? But if you pre-salivate with enough gusto, you can create a little pocket and then bite right in.
Oh,
rip.
I know about that. That's how I do pills.
There you go. Right? You got to.
Paige always gets blown away because I take pills with no water.
Yeah, I can do that too. It's not great.
Yeah,
but
and whenever I do it, she tells me I have like a whore's mouth.
Yeah, you got to gluck gluck 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, nonplussed. That's fair. So you gotta.
What am I gonna do? Fight you on it? Like,
guilty as charged. Yeah. So you use that sloppy toppy deliverer, and you bite in twice, and then you let the cardboard just as it softens goes right down, and then you start calling for the judge immediately before your opponent even has a chance to go, what the fuck just happened, And yeah, deck check. That's it. What are you gonna do? Have him throw up? Observe his stool? What are you gonna?
You know what? Let's bring random spot vomit checks to Pokemon card game. So
how bad do you want to win, bro?
There are 2 other esports stories this week.
I might not have caught them.
I caught one, and then Super Bro in the chat reminded me. Nintendo is not gonna be sponsoring anybody else. They fucking they put out they profiled a top team called Jackpot in Splatoon.
Okay.
And had like banners in game for them. And then Jackpot came out to be just like insanely racist.
Okay.
just like scrub them off the Nintendo shit racist.
Gotcha. Okay. Full throated. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Big racism. So of course, like one of the only things that Nintendo has ever like actually look.
Damn.
Look, guys.
See that?
Like,
that sucks because that's a little that Jackpot could be anything. That's a little Virgil and Dante having a moment kind of word, you know. They weren't exactly called like Squidwaffin, I don't suppose, or anything like that. So that's a surprise. Okay.
But the other one is I would like you, Wooly, to weigh in on a recent tournament organizer controversy. There was a recent Smash tournament. It's called EPM Smash Timber Tuesdays.
Okay.
In which tournament organizers are being accused of favoritism. So as you have been a tournament organizer, I would like you to tell me if the TO was being unfair.
Interesting. I haven't heard this.
Here's the story. This is Melvin. Just had a terrible experience at EPM Smash Timber Tuesday, where I decided to disqualify myself out of Winterside Grands because of a biased TO.
Whoa.
Opponent, Avion,
that's money,
was mad because I plugged my headphones in and he didn't have any game audio. I always bring a splitter. I can't focus with ambient sound, which is why I use headphones. I said if audio mattered so much, he should have brought earbuds or headphones himself. He refused to run the set. The TO said the only fair solution would be to run the set with the monitor audio, since we both get that. Keep in mind, the TO and the player are friends. They said if I didn't, I had to DQ. Avion kept saying I needed to show him a concrete rule that said I was entitled to playing with headphones. But by the way, he played a snake earlier in a bracket on a monitor without audio. So I'm pretty sure he only cared about me because he was losing. Anyway, Avion got payout for first because of the TO ruling, despite him being the one refusing to play the set unless I played the way he wants. Was the TO biased by saying you can't be the only one with game audio?
There was a lot of them, and I'm not sure which sides aligned with which, so I need to recap this. So there's a grand final set about to happen, and player one decides to use headphones to plug into the monitor.
Just plugs his headphones into the monitor.
Okay. And then player two...
Guy number 2 says, hey, what? Can I have sound, please?
Because plugging into the monitor mutes the monitor and makes it so that both players cannot hear it anymore.
Right.
Okay.
So now player 1 has sound in his headphones and player 2 has nothing.
Gotcha. And then
player 1 says, well, I brought a splitter. And player 2 says, I don't have headphones on me. I just unplug your headphones.
Yeah.
At which point the TO goes, yeah, unplug your headphones. You can't be the only one with game audio.
Yeah.
Was the TO wrong?
And then player 1 with the headphones drops
says,
out.
I would rather disqualify myself than take these headphones off.
Shit, that's crazy. Oh my God. Okay. Wow. I mean, yeah, dude, you can leave. That's cool. Like, I thought, okay, for a second, I thought the setup had no sound. Someone then put headphones in, and then it was like, oh, like,
Well,
yeah, okay.
His logic is that one, the TO and the other player are friends, and earlier this guy played a set with a different guy, and that monitor doesn't have sound at all. It's like, yeah, because that was fair.
Okay. Player one is fucking insane and denying the ability to hear sound that is naturally playing through the monitor, like for a normal setup, is batshit. If the way that the rest of everything is running is you sit in front of the TV and you can hear it normally, then that's what you should be entitled to. That's crazy.
But also, like, let's say
on another level. Go ahead.
Let's say, okay, I need to wear headphones because I got some kind of sensory bullshit. I go crazy. I need headphones. The only thing I can handle. If you're gonna do that, you have to be prepared with a splitter and a set of headphones for your opponent and cleaning wipes for the set of headphones for your opponent.
Okay. And so this is where it goes into, I don't know what size event this is. Based on the name, it might be a small
11-person event.
This sounds like it could be a small local, right?
Perhaps it is a local.
Sure. At a given like caliber of tournament, there's also something that's become standard with if it's decent enough, is your setup will have 2 headphones available for each player that are set there for the station. If you have your own custom headphones, you can plug them into the same slot, but either way, there's sound provided for you via those headphones, or you can plug your own customs in. And I know that, like, yeah, and like using communal headphones, especially during COVID time and stuff, is like, yeah, that's not a great, you don't want to do that.
I would never.
Right.
I remember we were at PAX, and I think we played all the demos without putting the headphones on because the headphones were being used by like 400 people before we got to them.
Mm-hmm. But
and that's gross.
But that is the reasonable way to handle this, and that's how most places. That's how Evo handles this. That's how a Combo Breaker handles it. That's how any major handles it. Don't controllers have their own headphone jack? Not something that you can use without taking over the entire device's sound output.
Yeah, that's how Mercenary Kings happened. When I plugged the headphones in so I could do it, it stole the game audio from the capture device.
So that doesn't work as a solution. Sticks that have microphone jacks and stuff like that, when you plug them into your PC, they'll take over the PC sound device and become the default speaker and shit like that. That's not viable. The way to do it is the solution we already have, which is every setup has a headphone jack. You can plug in your own, and if you didn't bring headphones, there are headphones for the setup that can be provided for you.
And if the setup doesn't have that and it's just playing out the TV,
then that's what's rocking.
Just play it out the TV.
That being said, there's a lot of players that are very comfortable with no sound that play to nothing, and it's kind of insane to watch. I mean, it's incredible watching like some of the best players just be like, "Yeah, the crowd noise hypes me up. I don't need the audio cues. I've played enough of this that everything is just baked in, and they can just react to what they're seeing." I'm like, that's nuts. I'm not that level. I need all the sound I can get.
Yeah.
Especially against characters where sound cues are big, like JP I've talked about. The way he says away gives you a clue as to what's coming out. So no, that's complete batshit, and what happened there is what should have happened. The most shocking thing, if anything, is that the perspective of that story is from the person with the headphones and not from the TO or the second player who went, "Can you believe this shit happened?" Yeah, okay, wild. What the fuck? Yeah, tournament, you should have a splitter at each station if possible, but if not, and most Smash games are running on CRTs and shit that have like, they're not HDMIing, right? They're playing on old hardware and stuff. So yeah, no, fuck off. Fuck right off. That's insane.
They were friends, man.
Cool. Great.
Apparently Geef nerfs are coming, according to Broski.
Eat your opponent's headphones, and then call for a judge.
You know what, man? Sure.
Little pods. They're easy to swallow.
If you're willing to eat a headphone that's been sitting on the person's face or inside their ears and is not food or biodegradable, like a set of cans, eat it. You know what? Win the pot.
There you go.
Dude, fuck it.
Let's
have this be the new meta. Who can eat the opponent's headphones first?
He called the judge over, and judge comes over like, sorry, he ate the headphones. You lose.
Yeah.
That's just the way it
He
goes.
wanted it more.
All right. And then, yeah, I suppose in relation to that, fighting game wise, there's been some talk this week of the guest characters that can come to Tekken. And in that, well, interestingly enough, actually, while Harada was answering some of these questions, I tweeted out some wild, awesome footage. Bloody Roar 2 Vietnamese tournaments are fucking awesome and crazy.
Yeah, they're crazy. I saw that shit when you retweeted it. It was bananas.
They're playing on a different version of the game called APC Bloody Roar 2, which is all points cancel, which is essentially just a Bloody Roar 2 mod that makes it so that you can cancel out of anything. And the end result is an insanely beautiful, awesome competitive game where people can just pop in and out of beast form.
You just turned fucking Bloody Roar into DNF.
It looks so awesome in action. It's great. And yeah, that tweet was going around. Check out the high level Bloody Roar tweet I put out. It's fucking so fucking cool. But anyways, from there, Harada has been asked, hey, what about, Bloody Roar characters getting in Tekken or Virtua Fighter characters getting in Tekken since, Terry's coming to Street Fighter. He went on a really long-winded, detailed explanation that essentially was, LOL Lamau. What the fuck are you talking about? What are you even on about? These games getting guest characters is essentially meant to be a mutually beneficial situation. Who benefits from a character showing up that everyone goes, what?
Who's Jackie?
Yeah, and then actually even echoes the sentiment, which Sakurai did say. It's true. When Terry and Kazuya showed up in Smash, all the kids and all the Zoomers that were like, who the fuck is this old man? What is this? Why do we care? Where's Sora? Where's Steve? So that same energy applying to Tekken with Virtua Fighter or other 3D games showing up. He's like, it just doesn't make sense. It might make sense if these games came back, and so he's kind of like, Virtua Fighter coming back, it's long overdue for a return. If that came back, it would make more sense as a more contemporary title. But as it stands, putting a guest character from a dead franchise in doesn't make sense for Tekken.
So if you had to pick a singular guest character from the fighting game pantheon to be in the Tekken 8, who would you pick, Willie?
From fighting games?
Yeah, from fighting games. Like a Geese or like a Terry or a Mai,
I mean, there's a lot of good possibilities. It doesn't have to be Capcom or yeah.
Nah, anything.
I mean, Kiryu is still the best answer, but that doesn't really apply here, I suppose.
I think, especially considering they're both Namco properties, I think it'd be most interesting and easiest to include a Soul Calibur character. I think they should go back and get a one-off character from Soul Calibur 2 called Heihachi Mishima and put them into Tekken 8.
I see.
I think that would be a really good guest character.
I see.
I think he would fit right in.
Okay, what if it was just a robot called Hachikun?
Fuck it, I don't give a shit.
And he had the little wingtip hair sticking off, and Lee was in charge of him. That's possible too.
It is.
Hey, Hachi.
It's funny. I think it was Max that was talking on Twitter about like how fighting game stories like shouldn't matter in regards to like the roster, and then Harada just retweeted him with the phrase "completely dead." Like, he didn't mention Heihachi, but Harada just goes, "He's dead. He's fucking dead."
I don't hate it. I don't. I like when things can move. Oh, I like it. I don't hate it. I am okay with move lists being translated into other shapes and forms, because we can do that with 3D characters, especially now. I'm okay with spiritual successors, but I am super down with dead being dead. right? In a world where I grew up, where the thing I loved, a Street Fighter 2, was stuck forever, not being anything, like just perpetual, everything is stuck in time forever. I fucking love it. I get so excited by that. When I first saw Rock Howard and Terry without the hat and a costume change makes me lose my shit from KOF to KOF.
Funny. I think Rock Howard is a really good example of Rock Howard shows up in like one game and he's like brand new and everyone's yeah, wow, Rock Howard, and then spends like 15-20 years going what like totally defeating the whole purpose of Rock Howard in the first place.
I mean, they're like literally I remember when like Rick Stroud fanboy was practically a slur in certain forums online, and it's like you just have to accept in your heart that like Rick Stroud is never coming back. And then Vanessa came back. And Vanessa was like, oh, it's the new Rick Stroud. They just gave her all the same moves. Okay, she's a 30-year-old MILF. Let's go. That's fine. We can roll with that. Rock Howard never fucking showing up until CVS 2. Yeah, it burns. It hurts. But either way, man, I am super duper down with Dead being fucking dead. And to that end, I also, like, it doesn't have to just be fighting games. I also am just like, like Sigma is just an eye roll every time. Who fucking cares what he's up to or what he's trying to do at any point in that franchise? Can you run, jump, and shoot, man? Yes, you can. Can you dash, maybe Hadouken, or absorb cool powers and do awesome things? You sure can. But but the idea of like, yeah, who the fuck cares? It's a Mega Man story, or who the fuck cares? It's a fighting game story. It doesn't have to be that way. It sucks that it always is that way, and so the expectations are so low that you can say who the fuck cares? It's a stupid story that never mattered, but it doesn't have to keep not mattering. We can make it matter. We can do things there.
You're crazy. You're insane.
You're
hate completely nuts.
Okay, well, we can make good things be good and also good in other places. Like, just because like we can make the gameplay good.
And that's why Street Fighter 3 New Generation was such a massive success.
The gameplay being good doesn't mean the other things have to be bad. We can have many good things. It's okay.
You're never going to convince people to not like the things they already like.
I'm not trying to convince anyone to not like the things they like. I'm saying the defeatist, stupid attitude of who the fuck cares? It's just a story in a type of game that stories shouldn't matter in is stupid and shitty, and it's a dumb take because that doesn't need to be that way. It can be good.
Here's the issue.
There's no reason it has to be shit. Like
here's the issue with that. The reason why like fighting game storylines are always going to be a problem, specifically for this reason, is because most people's exposure to a fighting game storyline is explaining why the character they like to play is no longer available. Once again,
you can still have a world where the playable version of the character that the person wants is there. These are separate arguments.
But I don't want to play as Christy. I want to play as Eddie Gordo.
Okay. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Like, if there's differences between the way they play or whatever the version of the character is, the spiritual successor, whatever the case is, you can do that. You can have your non-canon ghost character if you want to do that as well selectable. You can Nightmare Geese it up if you need, whatever the case is. You can make your concessions, but the point remains that the events don't have to be dumb. And the moment, anytime what I'm focusing on here is anytime you talk about anything related to the story in any of these types of games and somebody goes, yeah, but it's always shit, who cares? And it's just like, yeah, I know, but it would be nice if it was good. That's it.
It would be, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about characters should never be beholden to whatever fucking storyline they have. You sound just like Combo Fiend explaining why you don't actually need Magneto because characters are just functions.
No, I'm just saying that it's nice if the things the reason why I think, like, the reason why I enjoy, like, when it's like, oh, why don't you, I was asked many times by many people, why don't you play Blanco? Dude, Blanca's in this game, he's at his best. Why don't you fucking play Blanca? Dude, it's the right time, you should be playing Blanca, etc., and so on and so forth. And every single time I answer, because I think Marissa's cool. Because I enjoy her. I think she's rad. I enjoy playing the game for that purpose. It's fun. Is she better than him? Not necessarily. Will she? Whatever. I don't know. I don't care. I want to enjoy the game because I think the thing is cool. A part of what I think is cool is
right
these
there.
settings.
Stop right there.
Yeah, I know the character being cool. I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna say that I don't care about the reasons. I think the character being cool that I can play as should be there, and that should be the end of the thought, right?
That's not what I was gonna say.
Okay. Then sorry. What is it?
You're saying that there are people out there that go, but I like Blanca. I want to play as Blanca. Blanca is cool. And if they encountered a storyline
That's
reason
exactly
that said,
what I just
by the
said,
way,
Pat.
Blanca-
You just said what I said. You're saying exactly what I said. That is what I said. You're going to say that the thing being the cool thing, I don't care about the other reasons around it. I just want the thing. I get that. And I know that's the point. What I am saying, though, is that, like, if the game is just a dream match, there is no story, it doesn't matter, everyone's in it, who cares, then yeah, it doesn't have to actually be tied to anything happening in the events of whatever world we're writing up and stuff. And if you want there to be a character that's there for no reason, that's selectable, I have no issue with that too. That can be there. I'm just like, if we're going to have anything resembling a story mode, or anything resembling characters like changing or things happening over time with them, if we're going to give Ryu a beard or whatever the case is, for the people that are a part of the events of that thing, it would be nice if these elements of the games that usually are ignored can be cool ones too, can not just be things that you get used to ignoring because they always suck, or that's the case.
People's experience with these stories is telling you that their character that they wanted to play as died or quit. Like
I said,
Mortal Kombat, a game that has like the big story. It's like, hey, you can't play Noob Saibot in this game. Why? Oh, then the reason given is not we didn't want to include Noob Saibot. It's because they're dead. And if I just want to play Mortal Kombat to play Noob Saibot, why the fuck do I give a fuck about the story if it just tells me I can't play the character I want to play?
I'm just gonna end up repeating it again. That's it. They can be there. The people that can get the character they want to play as, that's not connected to anything, and that can be there without anything. It's just, if it's going to be connected to the thing, it would be cool if that part of the game was done in a way that was interesting and compelling as well. I'd like things to have as many compelling points outside of the gameplay and inside the gameplay as possible.
Wait, what are you talking about now? Now you're talking about just the storyline. I'm like the whole point we were talking about is you were talking about Rick Stroud becomes Vanessa.
Yeah, and ultimately, right? Yeah, and then the move transfers, and the move list transfers over to this new version of the character. But
this was like more generally based on like Heihachi to Reina, right?
No, well, but Heihachi and Reina are different characters. Their move lists are different.
But you said the translation of the move list, Michelle became Julia, Heihachi became Reina. Every version of Jack became Jack, the next Jack, right? Like the reason I can't play Heihachi in Tekken is because the story says Heihachi's dead.
Okay, so this is getting all messy and all over the place, but the train of thought to continue down is the stories are bad, and it doesn't matter who lives or dies. The characters should always be there. And my thought is, I would like if the stories were good in these games. If there is a character that is not around anymore, if there's some consequential change or something in the world that happens or whatever the case is, it's cool if you have ways to if you want to do a spiritual successor interpretation of a character. I think that's dope. I think it's awesome that a character like Rock Howard exists and has some of Terry's moves and some of Gee's moves. That's cool. If there is a available character that has no part of the story whatsoever, it's flashback Heihachi or something, then yeah, you can do that. You can find ways, you can come up with ways to make it so that there is the character that you just want to play as that is your favorite on the roster. I'm not going to fight that point. There's ways you can come up with, whether it's, if you don't like the idea of the Christy Montiero or whatever, you just want the thing to say Bison and you get your dictator and that's there. We can do that, right? I'm just saying that, like, I enjoy when it's not just that. I like when there are things that change and evolve, and characters and things that move through time, and Ryu gets a Shinshoriyukin that's a part of what's going on with what he's trying to do. Like, I like when these things happen, and I can enjoy these aspects of the game beyond just the kit being what it is and functions, right? It's not the combo fiend thing. And I'm like, anything that leans heavily in towards the character and their playstyle and what's happening on the roster, representing the world and the living, breathing world, and things changing and stuff, and all that being good, then I want that to be the priority. And then we can still if you just want to have the over here, go grab the thing, there's the guy you like, then yeah, we can do that. But if there's a better way to integrate that into the story that is reflective of other changes and things that might be happening, then my preference is towards that. And that's I don't know what else to that's the most I can break this down as, I guess.
I feel like a 2 to 4 hour fighting game story that most half of players won't even play is a weird, like, nail in the ground to, like think
it
of,
doesn't
like,
have to,
Third
but
Strike.
it doesn't have to be that. That's my point, I guess. Is just like that's not the only point. That's one thing. Like the type of fighting game story that comes out that currently sucks or is not good, like. I mean
all of them.
Yes, the thing that you're like, oh, when we first see them, yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and defend and say that, oh, they have the best stories. I'm gonna compare it to the shit that we hit and love, right? I picked a genre that I have an affinity to that is in extreme opposite to the things that you guys got into with Final Fantasy and RPG games that are nothing but narrative and nothing but depth and lore and characters and story and all these things that are like feeling like you read a full book and got a full 360 of a character and their depths and their meanings and motivations. I know that I picked a thing where it's like it's chess pieces. They're dressed up chess pieces fighting. And so it's nice when, like, you can do something that actually is like, oh, this is more interesting than I thought. This is more satisfying. There's elements to this that I find cool, because as you start to care about these chess pieces over time and they do things and we sit here and go through multiple iterations of this, it's going to be like, it's nice when, again, good things can be good, right? So I know that, like, stories and fighting games were always garbage, and they were just like, you get to the end of arcade mode, you see a couple like spreadsheet PowerPoints, and then we move on. And then you're like, oh, all of a sudden, Mortal Kombat tried something out. Here's a cinematic thing. You're like, oh, this is interesting. The events are wacky and goofy and dumb, and like over the years they've gotten sillier with each one. But it's like, oh, they tried something crazy with this whole, like, you take a different character each chapter. That's kind of interesting. And then a bunch of fighting games started trying to copy that and do that thing, and like some to various degrees of success. Infinite was terrible at it, but it was something they tried to do that you're like, okay, there's a thing you can try here, where if the characters in a chapter to chapter story mode emulating what Mortal Kombat 9 did the first time are still playing out, but the events occurring are not dumb and don't suck, then this could be an interesting way to present a story in a fighting game, right? Guilty Gear goes the complete opposite way with it and says, I'm just gonna have you sit here and watch an anime. We don't even give a fuck. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. That's a complete like tap out of trying to work in the gameplay and stuff. But I can see the difficulty of that. And then somewhere in between those is Melty Blood, where you play through 20 minutes of visual novel to get one round of a fight, and then go through another 20 minutes, which is also not satisfying either. These are all different attempts at doing the same thing, and like they're various degrees of success and failure. But my point remains the same, I suppose, which is that if someone writes a good, compelling story and it's interesting to follow along with, that can exist in any one of these games. And and there can be a way to deliver a story that ends up not being shit. It's not stuck with the genre that it has to be a shit story.
Okay. Before I have something else to say, but before we go onwards, I would like you to name a compelling fighting game story that is not Mortal Kombat 9.
Good luck.
Okay, well, there's a point of agreement.
Evil Zone with the Saturday morning gimmick that they run because you're watching a bunch of TV shows, even though the gameplay is terrible. It's kind of a funny gimmick of watching different channels.
Like, I kind of just want to wrap it back around. Like, the whole point is, I actually just really agree with Max of that the story should not focus. Any concessions to the story they want to tell should not affect the roster. Like, that's it. Like, even the game that Heihachi died in, he was selectable after like 6 months in Tekken 5.
Um, yeah, I guess like I think it can affect a roster in the sense that a character can get a move list that reflects something different based on something in the story happening to them, or whatever the case may be. Um, the characters can get updated in ways over time if there's reasons for that to be a thing, and those changes or things based on those story based reasonings. I think it would be cool if those existed as a priority over just an X copy of the existing character, I suppose. But
There is also like I'll actually put it out there. There is an agree to disagree here. Because you and I are on the opposite ends.
I mean,
of this.
I literally, by the way, have not said that in over 10 years since that I got shit on for doing that a decade ago.
No, but I am offering it out there because our personalities are so different on this, and it makes me think, because I can occasionally be stuck in my ways, and you're much more open-minded to these kinds of things, and it makes me think, because like you look at Hugo, right? And Hugo is the grappler archetype in Third Strike, and I really like Hugo, but I would have preferred to play Geef. Right? I would have just preferred Geef because I like Geef better than Hugo, right? But Hugo's cool, and he was my only option, right? And you generally want to see like new characters or even remixes of existing characters, right? And I think back to me playing Bloodstained and being like perpetually annoyed for the entirety of the time I played Bloodstained that the villain was not Dracula. Like the whole time I was just like, I want to go fight Dracula. I'm well aware that this is like mechanically doesn't matter.
Could it be
purely presentation?
Now whatever the villain was in that game, I assume it was not as compelling or as interesting as a Dracula from Castlevania.
That was some guy.
Sure,
I don't even remember his name.
But if we were to take a second back in the other topic that came up earlier, a game like a Bloodborne comes along, and this fits into a version of a Souls franchise game that you've been playing a couple different versions of. That's a knight in a fantasy setting going around dealing with dragons and lords and such, but here's a completely different setting with a different time and different things reflecting that. And everything in Bloodborne, despite being somewhat mechanically similar to what you already knew, is a new setting that is interesting enough that you don't for a second go, damn, I wish I was seeing anything like Artorias or anything from a previous thing, because this setting itself just happened to be fucking cool. If Bloodstained, offered you an awesome not Dracula to fight at the end of that you probably wouldn't even be thinking about Dracula, but whatever it did made you go, damn, I wish this was Dracula, but like it just wasn't good enough, you know?
But like that's why I think like Street Fighter 3 with a completely new cast was like a big mistake, because if they had called that Fight in Street,
right,
or whatever, I wouldn't go in with the expectation of like, where's the characters that I want to play?
Just calling it 3, and it's the wild, hilarious world we live in is the one where on the same time that is the case, we now live in a world where we will not stop seeing people outcry for Makoto to return.
Yeah.
But Makoto that never existed, if we were just to return to the old, had to exist out of the void at some point. There was a time.
This is where it gets complicated.
There was a time before the new character became the favorite. They had to exist first in the world to then show up as a new idea to then become the favorite.
This is where it gets really complicated, because some of the people asking for Makoto back were not alive when Makoto was the new character. The character predates their birth. And any character that existed before you were alive is obviously, well, they always existed, but they're always there.
But there are others that are adamant, fervent fans and favorites of characters that come out in the game that they love the most, and they want those characters to return in the future. And like as we move through time, it's a really hard problem to solve, but it's like when you give a new character an opportunity to show up, they have the chance to become your new favorite. And
I think
it's easy to not to lose, I guess, sight of or lose track of the fact that you might never ask for something new, even though that new thing might be your favorite, because you're just looking at what you're already familiar with. You know, it's instinctual, I think, to some degree, but I think
I
about
think
it a
Street
lot.
Fighter 6 is like a really good example of all three of the versions of this argument. So you have the main cast, right? But people are asking for Makoto. They're asking for Makoto from Third Strike to come back as Makoto from Third Strike, right? Like a Street Fighter 2 character. Like, please come back the way you were. Then you have Aki, who is a character that no one liked,
Reimagined in a weird,
turned into a character that people do like, and people go, yeah, Aki, right? And then you have Bison, a character that I like and I really like in the old games, that people are like, boo, get him out of here. He's old. I wish it was a new Bison.
And so I think what we have is ultimately a really hard problem to solve for these rosters, that like these games have to figure out what the best approach is to make as many people happy, right? You need to make new things that appeal to new people, but new things that appeal to old people, and old things that appeal to old people, and old things that appeal to new people. It's tricky to balance how you're offering what up to your multivaried fan base that all have different demands. I think what we're currently getting is it reflects that the people that have thought about the things that we're talking about here kind of conclude, yeah, we need to give people some shit that they really want, that are staples, that they're like attached and remember it strongly. We need to bring some shit that is like remixes of old things that you are take with a new interpretation, and some things that are brand new. I think you kind of realize you need to run the gamut and appeal to as many people as possible with different versions of these things, because the whole appeal of the toy box genre that is fighting games is which of these toys do you think is dope and has your attention, you know? So they need to cover all those bases, and that's what they're currently doing.
I think that Capcom is really brave to have Bison come back and be exactly the same. I think the brave move was to have him come back as the same guy.
It is definitely the wildest, because of all the people that like Bison is the one who died the most and is the most
died every game.
Like of all the characters, you know, it's like no one's gonna really think about, hey, what's Vega up to or whatever. But the guy who keeps dying, the Sigma, the Palpatine, yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing, I think that Blaze Blue's story, despite it being incomprehensible and I hate it, gets a lot of props for like just keeping every character going forever. Like forever. Like the Blaze Blue series gets big props for me for just adding more characters every time, never removing.
Yeah, Blaze Blue and Smash for a lot of folks represent the madness of a roster that is insurmountable. You cannot play, you cannot learn. It's just, you want to talk about the feeling of, I stopped playing this fighting game, I came back to it a little bit later, and now I can't handle anything that's going on because I've been left in the dust. Fucking games that have ever-long rosters of just 60 plus characters are the ultimate version of, this is impenetrable, I can't come back in. Like, it's what you described, the feeling of jumping back into a game of like multiplied exponent fucking 10, you know?
I think the League of Legends fighter might have that problem also. The 2X KO.
Yeah, I get, and we'll see.
Like, that has a roster laid out for it. And just keep it going until you hit the whole gang. The whole gang. Everybody. Christ, is that even possible? I think that like they're making new League characters faster than you can make new fighting game characters.
I mean, I would say just based on the size of the teams and budget of those games respectively, like 2XKO is, the Radiant team is not able to output the level of League's team. Like, you know, it's the main project, it's the flagship. It's going to be able to do...
Like we're expecting like 52 characters in 2XKO, right?
League of Legends probably has 3 times its roster in the garbage bin, unreleased, than what's playable right now. I imagine for every character you can play, there might be 2 that never came out. Or
okay,
prototypes.
There's 167 currently. That's a lot. So let's be kind and say a quarter of that. So like we're looking at like what, 45, 50? Does that seem fair?
No,
That game is. People are gonna be
No.
so mad when
That's
that shit
not-
is anything less.
folks are going to be happy about theirs coming back, and if they make that cut, they'll make the cut. But that game's not going to be in its final shape with any number that'll make people happy. It'll always be shy of that. A sequel might add more, and that'll be cool because you'll get, hey, a burst of everything you knew, plus here's another 12 or whatever the case is.
Oh, do you think 2XKO would have a sequel? I just figured they'd keep working on it forever, like League.
I mean, if they yeah, they could. I don't know that any other Riot game has ever done that, but a fighting game always could decide to stop, add some wild new mechanics, and then put a new version out if they wanted to make some money on that. But I don't know that Riot's Riot's method is to ever take a free thing and then put gameplay behind a charge. I don't know. You can look at their other games, I suppose. I have no experience with Riot's marketing tactics and stuff.
Hey, I gotta be right back.
All right, be right back. All right. Anyway.
Before we continue, I've been informed by my wife that we should just kiss already after our argument about fighting games. So hey, buddy, mwah, I love you, buddy.
There you go. Moi, 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 moi. Chew. I yeah,
Chew, huh?
I had a vision. I had a vision of myself with fully gray dreads, at staring at my phone when they announced Street Fighter 12, and there's just a silhouette of a big round guy next to a bowl of Chanko stew, and there's a big question mark in the silhouette, and I'm just squinting at my phone.
Oh, I bet that's Rufus.
I had a flash of that. You will have to forgive me for feeling slightly nonplussed.
So, like, and the last thing I want to say is, like, yeah, new characters are great. I think Aki's great. I liked Fung, honestly. I really like Abigail, right? But at the same time, we get fuck asses like 12 and Rufus.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at them and you're like, wow, I missed out on in characters I would have had so that they could try some new bullshit that sucks ass.
12 and Rufus. Sorry, for a second I thought you said Necro, and I was about to go Necro.
No,
fucking
Necro's all right.
won my
Necro's
heart. Tattooed, white, fucking awesome, just weird freak.
Like that's the new season of Street Fighter is like sure bets only. Like oldies plus like the guests, right?
We'll see, and then maybe they'll take a chance here and there. I think again, I feel a Hakan in the bones. But anyways, all right.
I wish there was more characters than 4 season.
Yeah. All right. So beyond that, talking about being accurate and talking about the story mattering. This is actually pretty apt.
Yeah.
Nen Impact Hunter x Hunter developers will not shy away from overpowering characters' moves if it means being faithful to Hunter x Hunter.
That's so funny in a game with a small roster.
We will not allow the cast's Nen abilities to feel lackluster.
Bro, fucking clown rapist Hisoka is gonna be so busted in that game. Him and Killua are gonna be fucked.
The gum whatever attached thing is stronger than it looks.
Oh, it's so stupid busted.
I mean, look, if you find fun creative ways, God bless the way Phoenix works in Marvel 3, and both of them for that matter. Both Phoenixes are awesome. I love the idea that this stupid lawyer man plays a different game, and if he can find the evidence, you're fucking cooked.
It's interpreted that he is working outside the rules of the Marvel fighting game.
Yeah. And in the meantime, Phoenix, as in Jean Grey, is just like, yeah, I can't wait for you to kill me, idiot. And then you got to get the bars to sacrifice to build it, you know. And I will say, as much as I don't acknowledge JoJo All-Star Battle, there is something to the like, go collect the fucking green baby words if you want to ascend heaven with Poochie. And a little bit of that story shit taking over the actual gameplay.
So I don't know if you picked it up, but the DBZ Sparking devs came out and said the exact same thing about DBZ Sparking.
Okay.
Zero. They said, of course, SSJ4 Gogeta is going to be way stronger than base Goku.
Why wouldn't he?
We're making a Dragon Ball game.
Yeah. So whenever you play against your friends, just pick the strongest character, and that's it.
Or pick characters that are appropriate, or be like, hey, could Pecan beat Blue Goku?
Or don't pick your favorites and expect to lose. There you go. That's fine too.
They showed off Mr. Satan and how Mr. Satan can't fly.
Awesome.
He just runs around on the ground.
That rules. I love that. Use the weapons. He was playable with weapons in Ultimate Battle 22, I want to say.
Fucking dick mouth is happening again.
Yep, you're about to crash and Discord's about to blow up any second now. So
we did better today.
We certainly got as far as we could. All right, there's not much left, so let me try to accelerate this process.
I'm gonna do my part over here. Blah, blah, blah,
you're gonna get kicked out of the call.
Don't worry about it.
Forthwith. And then we'll try to make it work over here. All right. What is happening? All right. Give me a second, folks. Doop-a-doop. I really don't understand it. And Discord's weird because it forces itself to update, so it's like you can't really have an unupdated Discord, nor can you really have one that, uh, it's not like, oh, you're installing the 64-bit versus 32-bit. Like, it's always going to be, what it's supposed to be there. But all right, here we go. You're now back in.
Bro, that's crazy because from my end, it looks like you dropped the call.
Oh, whoa. I did, but.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Where's your video?
I don't know.
Huh.
Oh, it's not on.
Your video.
Why on?
Why is your video not on?
That's so weird. That's never happened before.
Okay, hold on. Dropping the call again and trying one more time. This is great. Cool. Shutting it down. Joining the video call. There you are.
Oh, I turned it off by accident.
You turned it off by accident.
Oh, I'm stupid. That's what happened. What happened was that I was stupid.
Okay. Well, perfect. Nailed it. Got it.
Oh, man, you know what's great? You know what's awesome?
Mm-hmm.
Like lowering your standards and expectations sometimes. Like,
I agree.
Hey, why'd you do that? It's because I'm stupid. Not because I'm so stupid. Like, like self-damaging, like your dad yelled at you shit. Just like, guess I'm dumb.
I mean, there really is power in promising nothing and delivering less.
Yeah.
Like that is truth. All right. Beyond that shit, the Alone in the Dark reboot, the developers Pieces Interactive, shut down by
Fired.
Embracer.
Dead.
Everybody go home. And Jason Schreier confirms that Final Fantasy Tactics Remaster is real and is in fact happening.
That's good. I'm happy about that.
Yeah. Was the Alone in the Dark reboot anything that just dropped in March?
So let me check. There's a way that I check if these types of games are of value. And the answer is I type in Casey Explosion.
Okay.
Then the name of the game.
On Steam, it said mixed user reviews, but overwhelmingly positive.
It's good. Casey streamed it. That means it's good.
I see.
That's the system.
Okay. I have positive memories of the first one from a million years ago on fucking 3.5 floppies, but I don't remember anything about the story of it or what happened in it. I was way too young.
It's Lovecraft. That's what it was. It was Lovecraft.
So another Tactics remaster.
That game's always been in a weird hell where there's no way to get the good version of the game on anything other than your phone. But then the phone version has like been deprecated and replicated multiple times.
Well, is there anything like to pull from the PSP one that happened that would be worth it? Like some of the art stuff or cutscenes. I feel like there's some features.
The cutscenes, the translation.
Yeah. But
that's all in the Android and iOS ports. But those versions have lived on phones for like 15, 16 years. Like there's no way to buy it on your PC or your Xbox or your PlayStation, which is weird.
But then also when they made the Chrono Trigger fucking phone port over to Steam, it was the worst dog shit ever.
Yeah, and then it took them like 1.5 years to fix it. Yeah. Hey, do you want to hear something? I was recently reached out to by a small bird who wanted to tell me about Square Enix and the Epic Game Store. Square Enix is not happy with the deal they made with the Epic Game Store. They were not aware that the Kingdom Hearts games would basically sell almost nothing, which is why they're pretending internally that this is the game's launch on PC.
Yeah. Okay. What are you talking about? This was never anywhere for the first time.
That's why
ever.
They got Hikaru Utada to put out the statement. That's why they did the AI upscaling on the textures.
Wow, look at these trailers. Remember, guys? Let's go back. We can finally revisit it.
Because they did that deal with like FF7 and also Kingdom Hearts, and they are very unhappy.
Man.
And the gist that what I can acquire is the reason why Epic keeps offering these deals, even though they lose money on them, all of them, is that they can go look at all the games, look at all the publishers that work with us in order to try and like get investors and shareholders happy. Look, Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy and all this stuff. Don't look at the numbers. Don't look at the numbers.
Well, what's Epic gonna do? Get mad at them for bringing the birthday cake and party and streamers over to the Steam like birthday? But they're allowed to market the game however they want.
The launch on Steam is the game's launch on PC.
Incredible.
We're probably gonna never see Square Enix put out another Epic deal out.
If you've got an email, you can send us it at castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. It's castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com.
I recently had somebody DM me on Twitter asking me what the right email was, and I can only wonder that writing me was somehow faster than listening to the podcast where we talk about emails again.
To be fair to everyone on planet Earth, you have to listen to the end of what might be 4.5 hours to hear the email spoken out loud.
Yeah, but I mean, you can skip. You can skip.
I guess. Elena says, Dear Pat and Wooly, did you know about the Silent Hill wiki circumcision incident?
Yes, not only that, but I can direct you
if you do
to Justin Wang, who made a fantastic video documentary on this very subject.
If you do, then take it away, Pat. It's a fun story.
Oh, no, I'm going to tell you to go watch Justin Wang's video he goes into exhaustive detail.
Well,
he has all the notes. He has all the screenshots.
As someone in the dark, I'll let Elena take it away. The Silent Hill wiki once had a problem involving its admin being really into circumcision talk.
Really into it.
He'd insist that some parts of the games are obvious references to circumcision trauma inserted into unrelated statistics and rants about circumcisions and random articles on the wiki. As more and more people caught on and started arguing with him, wiki editors were eventually forced to turn to fandom staff to get the guy removed as an admin once he started banning everyone. Eventually, he was kicked out and briefly tried to do the same to Xenogears wiki pages before it got nipped in the bud as well. It lasted a whole week and has several highlights worth looking into if you want to check out the many articles written about it at that time.
He was absolutely
the Silent
convinced.
Hill fandom will never fully recover. Holy shit.
He was absolutely convinced that the entire plot of Silent Hill 4 was based off of Walter Sullivan going crazy because he was circumcised. And all the like bio horror was actually like thematically related to his long lost foreskin.
Jesus fucking Christ, man. Yo, you never know what you're getting when it comes to a wiki. Right? You're looking for that balance of folks that are like, I'm really into this and I can write a whole lot about it. And you need folks that are like, I am down to police this and I have fun actually keeping these things up to date. It's pretty menial work, but I enjoy it. And then there's that guy who might have been the first one.
If you want a deep dive on this, by all means, go to Justin Wang's YouTube. That's Wang, WHANG. Justin's been doing great content forever. He has a band. He's handsome. He's kind of doing it all, honestly.
Man, the movement of people that are just obsessed with the regrowth and putting weights on their shit and
Wooly. I know that you know that we went to a school that had at least one of those guys walking around, pointing at people, going, feel bad. I'm like, I don't feel bad. No, feel bad, though!
Oh, my God, man.
Because I feel bad, and it only makes me feel better when you feel bad. But I don't. Oh.
This is do I even broach? Do I just do I even broach?
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Hey, you don't have to talk about nothing here. We don't have to talk about nothing. This is a private discussion.
Listen,
the only part that matters here.
Listen, it's
the only part that matters here. All right. That guy in my story was an asshole.
Okay. Look, I underwent changes in life at a later age than most people do, and as a result of that, I'm one of the few people on this planet that was old enough to be able to tell you what it's like with and without. And I can speak to anyone who is obsessed with growing it back and all that shit and tell you that as someone who has actually a perspective of both sides, because most of the time you're like, I was a baby, I didn't, whatever. It's not worth it. It's not a big deal. It's infinitely better without it. You're obsessing over a nothing. You're chasing a ghost. It's not real. It's way better without. You need to stop.
This isn't my story.
Just
right?
being real with the unique perspective I have.
Story, but I do have a different person that I've known that had this had it done in his 20s.
Okay.
So after he had sex with girls,
okay,
which is like a point of interest, and he was like, "Yeah, I miss it, but it's basically the same."
Yeah. So again, I have insight of both sides. Under most circumstances, I can tell you it's better without. You're fine. It's just, that's the situation. I'm just being real.
Now, hold on, Wooly. Are you telling everyone to run out and get things done?
I am not telling anyone to run out and get things done. I am saying that if you are without and you are obsessed with getting it back and what was taken from you, you need to stop because you don't understand. You don't know. You're looking at the grass being greener on the other side. You are fine, if not better. You are fine. Chill the fuck out. If you aren't, and you're the way you are, that's fine too. It is what it is. But looking at both, enjoying both vistas, living and walking as a daywalker and a creature of the night as Blade, you're fine without, man. All right. There we go. We're out of here. Goodbye, everybody. What the fuck are we doing?
Feel bad about your